rent. And I was like, oh, I'm looking to get spare. Here it is. He was like, yeah, that would be 18 million naira.
Sorry.
Did you say 1.8?
Sorry.
1.8.
Sorry. Just once more. Sorry.
Okay, I think your parents won't pray.
It's like I was...
If I hear say Nigerians won't be
18 million. How much is anointing oil?
Okay, like man. What's about to redeem camp?
Hi everyone, my name is Toyosi Alexis. Happy Deaf Awareness Week. On this episode, we spoke about deafness in Nigeria, shedding light on what disabled people go through, and just how we can do better as a society.
Oh, so
lovely.
Cute. How cute. Enjoy, guys.
Enjoy. Hello, boys and girls.
Hello, all.
The bounce, I don't know what the bounce is, but the bounce's voice has gone.
Oh, serious? Because Fakemi's voice was not like this yesterday.
Okay, so the thing is, I was shouting this earlier today. I will go into it, but anyway. How are you? We have a guest today.
We do.
Woo. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Toyosi Alexis. Some people know me as Toyosi Alexis. I am the founder of Adaptive Atelier. It's a global accessibility consultancy based in Lagos and London. And I also dabble in like beauty, lifestyle, fashion. So some days you might find me yapping about my favorite concealer, and then another day I'm talking about disabled people and advocating for rights for them. So yeah.
We love range.
Cool.
We do.
How are you? How was your weekend? What did you get up to this weekend?
Nothing actually. I was supposed to do a shoot and then the studio flooded. So I ended up not doing that. I just stayed home. I broke my foot. I actually didn't wear my cast today because I was a bit embarrassed, but I'm like in the recovery stages and like last few weeks of that. So I was actually just on bed rest.
How'd you break your foot?
Girl.
Okay, never mind. You don't have to go into it. It's
not that serious. I was making a TikTok. Like, the ones like where you go like Spider-Man, Superman. So I landed on the side of my foot and
okay, you see why I say we should not. When you guys say we should, it's dangerous. It's hurting the people. Fair enough. Do you know what? I really feel you. And that Spider-Man, Superman thing, I promise you many people have injured themselves. Even when I see them fall down in the video, I'm just like, there's no way one of you has not sustained a major injury.
No, I was one of them. Beginning of like April, I was in a cast and like now I'm about to take it off. So yeah.
Tough times. What did you do this weekend?
Many things. John got married.
John did get married. It was a very serious production.
Which was the sum total of what was important this weekend.
Yeah.
John got married. Finally, we are done with weddings.
We used the whole weekend to get
not
John
the whole weekend married.
Look, Mr. John, we were at the beach on Wednesday. Not Thursday, the public holiday. Wednesday, because that's what John
decided. He said we should go to the beach. He's getting married. Anything we said to him, he doesn't have anything. He's getting married. So we went to the beach. It was a lot of fun. Well, originally, all of us were grumbling. We're like, wow, John, do this. What is this? And we got there, and of course, we had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
And it was nice.
It was a
great
always
time. Nice to hang out with your friends.
Yeah, I quite liked that the next day there was no work. I could then sleep off. And then Saturday was obviously the wedding.
Yeah.
We had a sweet time. It was a whole day, because they did trad and they did whites throughout. But I can't lie. We had a
crazy
time. You
time.
knew that we were the ones doing the wedding. We had a grand time.
Just me and Fakemi were just marching up and down. What were we marching to do? We weren't even talking to people. We just moved from one end so that people just know that, these are...
At some point during the after party, we went to stand at a place where we were not in the line of sight. You know, when you made an error, when you're not in the line of sight of people serving food. Like after at the after party, we were at the very, 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 very front, like near the DJ. So when the food was coming out, it would pass everybody. And by the time, the tray doesn't even get to us because It was already empty. And us were in our little corner having a great time. So at one point, I found myself walking to the back. I said, listen, I'm collecting a tray of food, okay? So the bride sister was like, oh, okay, what could you be doing here? I said, my sister is all of us doing this wedding. We need food. And so this is how we're just marching up and down and doing things. I had a great time. I really enjoyed, it was a good group of people. Mm-hmm. The DJ was phenomenal.
It was fantastic. And he was the bride's dad's DJ.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Bride's dad.
You know those things never work out.
Yeah.
Like when your dad is like, I have one DJ. And you're like, sir, please, the person DJing at your office party, we don't need that.
He was phenomenal. He's a really, really good DJ. He's actually kind of popular, but we didn't know. What's his name? DJ Marcus?
Marcus, he was phenomenal. Fantastic. We didn't know. Really, at first, I was even worried because he did this. He was playing certain songs.
This is where I come in. Yeah. This is where I come in.
Jola suggestion.
So basically what had happened was the wedding started later than it was supposed to. So it was now that thing where it was clear and the bride side of the family loves to party. Like that's their thing. So the way those people were comfortable and the time that we had, I was like, look, we're not going to get enough time to party if we follow a normal trend. So to be fair, the MC was really, really good. But that was the problem. He was good in a way.
And he was entertaining the adults.
That meant that people they were enjoying themselves. Like, a lot of times so the wedding wasn't too big. So, a lot of times when MCs at huge weddings are doing all these interactive things, it doesn't translate because they're only talking to the tables around
and
them.
You can't feel it. But this one, the whole hall was with the MC, and he was doing this thing where he'll play a song
from a certain time period,
from a time period. You say, and obviously he was whining. By the time they played one old song from the 80s. All the adults,
they were so happy.
I wanted to say, bro, they have to stop.
Dancing competition between the groomsmen led by the bride, the groom's father, and then the bridesmaids led by the bride's mother. It was just
like they were really into it.
In my spirit of walking up and down, I marched to the stage. I said, John, we need to come up with a master plan. If not, nothing is going to happen. And even his wife, because she's a dancer. So Olamide was ready for the after party. All this rubbish they were doing. So I was like, look, we still need to do that thing where parents come and they spray, your parents' friends come and spray and dance with them. But John's family is a lot more relaxed. They're a bit shy. They're a bit quiet. So I was like, these guys don't need fairity, but the way I'm looking at Olamide, she's going to need more. So I was like, you give them what they need. But instead of that normal, winding 2 hours of the period, no. We have a solid 1 hour. So you're going to give them 30 minutes each. But you start by saying, because the MC too, when I said that, I'm sure he was thinking, no, he hasn't shown his true colors. I said, bro,
you listen to worry, your balance will be complete. Let's keep everything.
So he first did that. He did, we were able to chase them off. But this is the thing. They were still sitting down. So I said, look, we have to tell the DJ that after the live band has calmed down, he should not play the way he has been playing since, that people are grooving.
You start playing rubbish.
Play nonsense. All this hip-hop. Plenty hip-hop. Once enough parents here, 3 fork and 2 shit, they're going to carry their bag.
And lo and behold, this guy just started playing rubbish.
And then he will enter a song that doesn't flow. So it's not smooth.
Play one song, and when what's going on, but even us were getting frustrated. Like, sorry, I know we asked you to do. Are you okay? They are going to scatter this wedding, and one by one,
they just carry their bag. Because it wasn't even so I told him, he now said, oh, so I should just play. I said, don't play Afrobeats. Don't play anything that they will recognize.
This guy started playing all these old reggae, all these 1991.
Then you you now enter, you don't hit my card, then you come out and that. So it just doesn't make sense. Wow. Look at that. They cleared.
You guys, they were moving home.
Even some of our friends were like, oh, is the party over? I said, no, don't worry.
No, just hold
wait.
On. Just give it 10 minutes. Let these people go to their house. Even John's speech, he was like, look, I'm not saying that you guys have to go, but this part of the wedding is over. But anyway, it worked and they went home.
So much fun.
He switched. And I could see other people, younger people's faces being like,
is this what we came here for?
What's this? What's this DJ doing? And then when they left, he switched up. And we started.
It was really good. The planners did a good job. Queen Perfect did a really good job.
And I mean, when I knew we were having a really good time, our friend John cannot dance save his life. Now, Lamde is a stepper.
Yes.
Any after party, John was giving us. I said, "What is this smooth?"
I said, "Could this be the power of cocktails?"
No, he was really in a dancing spirit. I said, "Wow."
Yeah,
Everything can happen.
it was so much fun.
It was actually a blast.
I have incriminating videos.
If
we want to disgrace John,
that can never be released to the public eye.
You didn't see it.
No, trust me. Trust me.
No.
We were pink.
Yes. That's the way
You guys, please, I have to, the only thing I have to say is that you guys, they threw the bouquet. Me as a sensible person, I was not among. Someone was saying, "Oh, Auntie Single Money, please. I'm watching things going on at the wedding." For whatever reason, Jola was behind the bride.
Well, the ones doing the wedding now.
When they threw the bouquet. You guys, as they threw the bouquet, the way Jola ducked for her life.
No.
As if it was a missile shooting straight at her.
No, but you know it would have come exactly as
it was actually, if she stayed the way she was, that thing would have hit her immediately. I said,
No.
No, that was a crazy one. It was
such good fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And this is a gentle reminder to everybody to do things the way you want to do them.
Not the way, like just have your own.
Have your own.
Because they did their own wedding with
their own
amount of people, and it was fantastic.
They did it exactly the way they wanted to do it, and it was just so much fun. They didn't feel under pressure to do anything they didn't want to do, or these are people are doing it now. In fact, well, that's John Sha. You can never tell him this is what we're doing now. He has zero interest.
And that's the kind of thing I ate from like 5 caterers. I had a great time.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, so it
smashing.
We
had a fabulous time.
One. It really was.
And then on Sunday, like we weren't tired of seeing each other.
You guys, I couldn't believe that. I mean, normally we meet on Sunday, but I don't know why I just thought John got married yesterday. Now we're all there. We won't do. No, I then realized we need a debrief. Only for us to get to the Sunday gathering. We shall got there. You know, we all knew we were debriefing. And obviously John's wife is here. Yeah. So she also came. Next thing, John walked in full trad. John had bought a half shoe. That he's a married man. You guys.
We have never seen such.
When he walked in, we were all like, I said, "What happened?" He said, "Please, I'm married."
No fair enough.
I said, "When did you so trad?"
With half shoe.
No, I couldn't believe it. He looked like
and it was half shoe that had like gems.
He had like as in diamond hair.
Oh really?
A real Lagos married man.
He actually looked like, I said, you remain pen that you'd have put in. Yes. He looked like he was how he had things doing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was really crazy. I was like, please, I hope this is not your plan. That now that you're married, you plan to be looking like. It was really fun. So we did a post celebration, and it was nice to do a brief because you know those kinds of things. You are in this corner and you're not seeing the gist that is happening over there, and so everybody was bringing out their own. Things. Or you guys missed when this was going on. You guys missed this was going on. It was a lot of fun.
We did. We had so much fun.
I enjoyed the debrief.
10 over 10 weekend.
10 over I 10, must say. 10 over 10. Like on serious people, 2:00 we're there. I was like, why do we do this? I kept saying to us, look, this is a new wife that has joined our circle. Why can't we pretend to be people?
We have to apologize for that.
I swear we apologize for that. Normally we don't do this. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I don't know why. Anyway, no, I know why. I went with my friend Amaka to GT Food and Drink because she had booked the appointment a long time ago. Jesus is Lord.
I went last year. I hated it.
God, I beg. I mean, she had a VIP pass that her mom had given us. So at first we were like, in AC, thank you. It was very nice. And there's free food and drink up there. So, but I just figured, why would I've never been. I was like, why would I come to the thing and then not go downstairs? And so at the time we went, I looked at the whole floor. It looked okay. Like it felt like you could find a path. Oh, I was wrong.
No.
As I went down like this, and I also don't know what I was thinking. As I went down like that, I went and I was trying to the problem was there was no map or anything. So I was now trying to gauge all the stalls that I know people. So I stopped at Freg's store, I went to AJ's, I went to Culinary Walk, I went to The Plug, Dimeji's The Plug, where I had one of Dimeji was serving Kuli champagne. Look, and there's also free drinks I was having there. It was a great time. And I was trying to figure out where everybody I know is. And obviously, there were a bunch of people from myself, as I said there. So the first babe came up to me and said, wow, you guys really had a good time yesterday. She said, don't ask me how I know, but trust me. And the thing was, people were now going to tell the other people they came with that, oh, I just saw FK, she's here. I will now realize that maybe I'm here. I'll see people from the other side being like, wait! Like 4 girls, they said, wait, we've been following, wait! I now stood there, what's going on? They now came, we've been moving, just stand here. They said I should wait. They went to bring one other person. We took pictures, we did this. It was so funny. But then the funny thing is now, so you're greeting people now. People are saying hi to you, which is lovely. And then I now made a fundamental error. One babe had a stand. She now said, oh, FK, come to my stand. Moya lost his stand. She now offered me one thing for free. All of them were now looking at me. I said, okay, let me have 2.
So they had to pay
I bought
for
it. As soon as I did that, the next babe said, oh, my president. I said, yeah. That's what was. People were just coming, FK, come to my store. Come and have a look at this. As I get there, if there was one, maybe they'll give me one sample like this. And then they're like, my president, won't you support us? For the girls. I said, wow, the girls are there. So that's what was going on. After a while, I was like, listen, I must escape this place because if not, the money that I'm about to spend. And everything was nice and lovely, but I was just like, I
also heard that parents are losing their children left hand.
I'm actually not joking. There were, in the time I was there, at least 4 children missed.
I don't think they were missing. I think their parents ran away.
No, so what happened was there was a child play area, and I can't lie to you. If I had a child, I'd have also left them there.
No, I think their parents ran away.
Like abandon them.
The offspring.
You were meant to. They'll be playing. Then other parents.
Apparently, there's one boy. They called his mom for like 2 hours.
You guys, you actually don't understand. I even know the boy's name. I won't say it. I know his name and his last name because they announced his name like 200 times. Do you know? At one point, the mom was at the radio station. Then she left to look for the boy. Now went to the radio station. Then he left again. And I was like, sorry, can't you guys? When they said he left again, literally the whole hall was like, oh my God. Now, what is it? Only to find out that the boy went outside and he was waiting for Suya. But obviously it was in the afternoon. So they hadn't started. No. So he was just kind of standing around, apparently waiting for somebody to serve Suya. Then he was coming, they now started serving, calling his mom to come and pay. It was really just a long. There were now another set of children. There was siblings. One was 10, one was 12. They were looking for their parents. They were looking. After a while, we're all like, let me lie, a lot of these parents have left this.
Yes.
They've just paused them that we know that they will announce you.
So you just stay where you are.
Just stay where you are. But they were honestly like, at every like 30 minutes, one child has gone missing. That they've gone to.
Yeah, that used to make me laugh at like big parties. So like community type of parties. They just say, who is the mother of Shere? Shere Obu. She's here. I am 4 years old. 4 years old, Shere Obu. Please, can the mother be with us at the DJ? It used to make me laugh so much because the children will be in distress. Like, as far as they are concerned, like, it's the end of the world.
This one, I feel like it was opposite because every time it'll be like, your mom is here at the station and come to find out the children are having a grand old time.
Of course.
Because there were different areas where like people with younger children were like sitting down on the carpet and whatever. And there were a bunch of kids just cooling off, playing game. There was one boy that we passed that he was sitting down and playing game. I said, I can't put any money down. This is the boy they're looking for. He didn't look up the whole time we were trying to buy something. I said, let me not lie to you. If you tell this boy that is playing this Nintendo here, I promise you this is the person that they're looking for because he was wearing headphones that were bigger than his head. And playing like a game so seriously. And I kept just saying, his mom had told him, just wait 1 second, let me buy.
I know.
And he had gone off. But anyway, it was nice. It was very overwhelming though. I saw one of my friends came in. I greeted him. He said, yeah, I'm going back. As soon as he walked in like this, he stood, he was about to buy something. After 5 minutes, he was like, yeah.
No, I would only ever go on a Friday.
Yeah. So that was the trick that I think we missed. We were meant to go on Friday. Because obviously our Friday starts at 4. So if you get there 5:30, nobody's there.
1 and 2 I think it's also a bit more closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not totally public. But anyway, I did get some stuff. It was interesting, but I can't lie, that many people is really...
Yeah, I think it's like the production and like the food and the concept is great, but the execution, I'm like...
it's just too many people.
Yeah,
It's so many people.
Especially on the last day,
sardines.
Sunday. So people really, really want to just get there. Sunday evening is the worst time to go to the
I
food
can't
and
lie,
drink
it's
festival.
so many.
Wow.
It is so many people that is...
I'm always curious to find out like what their foot traffic is, like how many thousand people go.
Yeah, because so many people go.
It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that. It was actually unbelievable. After a while, I was just like, I feel deeply overwhelmed just by the stimulation that's going on. And it wasn't rowdy or anything. Like nobody was pushing you.
It's just a lot of people, yeah.
It's just a lot of people. And obviously by virtue of that, the popular stores had queues, which was great for them. But like you now, obviously everyone just has to queue up and you have to wait your turn. So there was a lot of things like that. And trust Nigerians, I heard people discussing they should just do fast pass. They should do. Nigerians are always trying. Also, apparently the announcements were so funny. The masterclasses are going on. They have like chefs, both local and international. Sidebar, I didn't see Makida. Makida was hosting masterclasses and she looked phenomenal. I've been wanting to tell her since. Phenomenal. There were screens showing what was happening. Anyway, they now announced that there's one person selling tickets to the masterclass. Please, the masterclass is free. People should not answer him. Actually, there was a guy outside selling tickets to the masterclass, which everybody was walking in for free. You see, Nigerians, it's a huge... We actually have so many different challenges. Just imagine you standing outside the fair saying you're selling tickets to the next masterclass.
That is crazy.
And people are buying it.
Because they won't know.
The whole thing, you literally just walk in.
That's crazy.
So they announced that if they see him, please somebody should alert. I said, that guy has disappeared. But anyway, it was a fascinating time. It was very interesting. Asha, we did that. What else happened this week? Okay, please. I want to rant a bit. This weekend and today, I've encountered misogyny in several ways. Number one, my driver. You people will not believe that after John's wedding. Okay, as people who, again, are not serious people, they said we should go somewhere again after we've had all the fun in the world at the wedding. Let's go. Let's, step down. Have a bit of a pre-debrief, have a drink. So we said, okay, we'll go to the house in VI. It's like chilled, it's not doing too much. We're not going clubbing, but you have a drink or two and then we'll go home. It wasn't that late. It was like 11. Everybody's going to VI while like in a train off. There's a car with my friends in front of me. I just saw my driver turn into Ikoyi. I said, that's how this man said to me that I've been out all day. That I must go home.
It's crazy.
And he drove me to my house. I said, You know when something is happening and you're watching it happen and you're like, this is my road we're on now. This is my gate. This is my house. This is not where I said we should go to. But you are here. And then long story short, we have to remove him from the compound. But do you know how crazy that is? For somebody as in that...
You forget to tell them that when you said, okay, no problem, he should come down and give you the key.
I said he should come down and give me the key because I can't drive. He said no. That means I should call police.
What?
I'm telling you. Do you know how we... So when she first said it in the group chat, people were like, what? So when she was explaining to the guys,
they were...
They were like, no, like they kept being like, no, what happened? Because it's not feasible. It's not possible in their minds for that conversation to ever happen. Had the same thing happen with a tailor. Like I can't explain the low-level, stupid, basic misogyny of the last couple of weeks.
It's just so crazy. And the thing is, my friends who were driving in front of us, the guys, they now came to the house. Do you know this guy was saying sorry to them? And I was there.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
My brother called him. He was saying sorry to my brother who was in Ghana. And me, I was there.
And he still didn't apologize.
Apologize, K.
I can't even repeat what it says. I apologize.
It's so jarring because something
so
similar had happened. So we have a driver that we were, like he's kind of new. So we're talking to him about, I can't remember what it was. So he's had a few issues. And the moral of the story, when we eventually were talking to him, at the end of the month was that this guy seriously said, oh, and he wasn't joking. That's what made it so jarring. So often when we would correct him, he actually didn't hear anything we were saying. And we're like, what? I shit you not. He was like, no women, then they vex. Basically, he tunes us out. Like we're just talking.
Yes, you don't.
So when we were repeating like this was the issue, do you know he was saying, it's true. But like it's brand new information. Like why didn't you tell him?
You never said
that?
This
you know
before.
what? Fair enough. Like I understand what you're saying. And I was like, no, we've had this conversation before. He now scratched his head like, okay, so that's what you are saying.
No.
That time. That you know how women, they quick vex. So basically, like, we're just talking.
Like, you're not even saying anything sensible.
Yeah, we're not engaging. He doesn't even have...
listen to you.
It is so
crazy.
It's
insane. It was insane watching it happen because the guys were all, men, and women, they quick vex. All the men wanted to fight.
One of our friends said that they would have gotten an accident because what happened is he would have punched the guy.
Yeah, all of
from
our friends,
the back seat, he would have punched the guy.
Were, like, now,
and they would have been dragging.
Yeah. At this point now, everybody was now trying to hold my friends because they were like, I don't understand what... Because at one point, he said that if not for the fact that I'm employing him, can I talk to him outside? Look, my friend said, please, release me. Release me. So he was now begging them. They said he should...
Crazy.
As in they were like, he should say sorry to her. He said, for what? That why should I be out the whole day? I said...
even having...
Someone that you're...
No, that's my problem. That it doesn't even matter.
Like this was a work thing. Oh.
This is it. He doesn't.
This is his job.
He doesn't care. He just, as I say, he moved the car. That he's not going.
Crazy. I hope you fired him.
Fired. Okay. That police said I should call. I did indeed call them. Don't worry. You will explain everything when you get there. Just imagine you telling me to call police. I said, no problem. It's not a difficult.
Locked her in the car.
As in, he said he's not getting down from the car.
I said we'll call anti-kidnapping.
Hey! I said, so you've kidnapped me.
A lunatic.
I couldn't believe it. So it's just, and all through, I just kept thinking, And it's funny because as my brother was on the phone saying, if it's me, you can never try that. He was saying, yes, I won't try it for you. I said...
I would have been so annoyed.
My friends were saying that in their lives, even if, as in now, I say he should drive them, that he doesn't know them. He cannot even talk to them anyhow. And he was saying, this one, that you, sir. And I was like, okay, you're calling them sir.
Yes, no.
People that you just met.
Yeah,
it's
very
insane.
jarring.
It's like today, they found someone stealing in my office. Do you know that when I got there, okay, it's not an issue now. They are stealing from me. Let them carry it to station. Let them charge you to court. I was like, I don't want all this one that you people are. I don't have time. Charge him to court. Let's let him
deal with that. Yeah.
Let's deal with it properly. I want this thing to stretch out as long as possible. All this beating, he doesn't achieve anything. I said, carry him. Let him file for bail.
Yeah.
He's a thief. I was like, he's a thief. I'm gonna stand up in court and say he's a thief. That's what I want. So I was like, he was now kneeling down there. Like you're like a sister to me. Money, eh? I said, I'm a sister to who? Who is your sister? And all the things he was saying, all I knew was he's just thinking, oh, but you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You will understand.
No, that's crazy.
I said, God, I've seen a lot of... That's why my voice is going. I said, I've been shouting a lot. I've seen a lot of things. And I just thought, are you insane? Can you hear what we're discussing now? What you're telling me?
So you can steal from your sibling because you're saying that.
Toyosi, please.
I said, you stole. You're telling me I'm a sister to you.
It's so bizarre.
And I just kept thinking, if your boss was a man, is that what you say? In this context where they literally caught you while you were stealing, not that somebody said.
I've had this conversation.
He was throwing it over
the
fence to the next compound.
Oh
and the security caught what he was throwing and brought it into our compound. By the way, I saw this man on a ladder.
On a ladder?
He said, I caught him and he took a photo of him.
So he even had picture.
He had everything. I always send food to all the security next door because they surround my fence. So he came that, ma.
It's so, and I've had very interesting conversations. One of my friends owns a really fantastic interior architecture firm. She said she's never really been able to work with men, not because they are not good. They just have big issues listening to her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like over time she realized, the problem is you bristle at the idea of taking instructions from
a woman.
It's happened so many times. I've spoken about it before. One of my first jobs, I'll never forget this guy who was the most junior on our team. I was like leading that team and I gave him instructions. And the moral of the story was basically like, he just didn't like the way women were talking to him. He was the youngest. Age-wise, he was the most junior, newest hire. Like, it was so odd. And then one of my other colleagues, who was a guy, goes to give him the same notes. So it happened a few times. I said, Justin, I suspect XYZ. So Justin goes to talk to the guy. And Justin has been on this podcast ages ago, but if you don't know Justin treats everything like a slightly cerebral experiment. So he comes to sit down next to me. You know what, this is misogyny, Jola. This is... It was so odd. So it ends up going to our boss, Shay Taylor at the time. And Shay, first of all, was like kind of already struggling to keep the company together. So this was very low on his list. He was highly irritated when we came in, not with news of money or anything, to basically say, so I think Shay thought probably, no, maybe there's something else going on. And this guy says to him, legit, that, you know, the way he doesn't like the way these women are talking to him. She was so shocked. He said, your boss and then the two other people in your team that are also senior to you.
That's what you're talking about.
Who create the content. Your job is to edit. The issue is that they are giving you notes, as in this is what you should do. It was very, very mind-boggling.
It's mind-blowing. And today, people were begging me, and first of all, one person on my team said, you know, you're a mother. I said, I don't have any children.
What?
I said, I want to tell you the truth. I don't have one child. The man has told and said, he has a wife at home, his sister. And I just kept thinking, is everybody here mad?
Yeah.
Why are you mentioning all the... Okay, Coco, call grandma, auntie, your cousin, call everybody. Let's know what's going on. And I just thought, and I kept saying it, that if I was a man, will you beg me?
No. Insane behavior.
Are you guys mad? And I hated that in the driver thing, I knew I had to call my friends that were guys.
Yeah.
Because I knew that if I wasted my time to try and be shouting on my own, the minute they came, the way his posture changed. That there are men here.
Let me give you...
If I do anyhow...
We've had this conversation. You don't understand how many times we've had this conversation. A friend of ours was doing something and she needed to call a new carpenter. And we had just been hearing like all sorts of crazy numbers. So we said, okay, do you know who we should call? Soji. I shit you not. The way the energy changed as soon as Soji said, bye. I was just like, wait, what is happening here? It is so disappointing. It is so irritating. It's such a low level and it happens all
the time.
Down to ordering food. It's down to everything.
Like now, that driver sent my brother a text message.
Wow.
But that's not what happened this one. I said, is everybody okay?
Yeah.
It's just, I can't lie, it's insane. And you just see it all the time and you're like, it doesn't even matter if you're the one accommodating them, employed. They don't give a damn.
Yeah.
As far as they can
nonsense
see, you're a small girl and you don't even really have any right to be. So listen, this country, I don't know. I'm not sure we're going to make it, but it's okay. You know, it's what it is. And a lot of times, I could see the look on all my friends, that guy's faces yesterday. It had passed, but they were boiling.
Yeah.
They were like, please. So she said, give me his number. I said, it has gone. They said, no, let's locate him. And I was just like, you see, this thing that you're feeling, it's not that I'm not feeling it. It's that, but when you feel it, there's results.
Yeah.
Because when you do it, they will respond. But when I do it,
it can't even
happen to you.
Yes, it can't happen. They kept asking, what happened?
They were like, what explain
The
exactly.
their worlds are so different.
Yeah. So look, anyway, that's just something for everybody to note.
And they always try to like negotiate with men.
Yeah.
Like
when you're there.
You know, like I'm like I'm standing here.
I find it very irritating. I see why a lot of people are just like, I'm hiring a lot of women.
Yes.
Because I'm sorry, it's just
one of my biggest regrets with something I was trying to do this year was being more open-minded. I should have closed the mind because it has cost me so much time, so much money, so much effort, and brought unbelievable disrespect.
Yeah.
Only for me to now start asking other people that have done it. I said, why would you do that? He said, look at your temperament. Look at what you're trying to do. Why would you do that? I said, I thought that. She said, no.
No.
All my friends now started telling me that, I don't. Slowly but surely, I came to the conclusion that these guys don't respect me because I'm a woman. So let me just find women who are in this field and let's just be going like that. And guess what? Fantastic results, everybody. So who sent me?
It actually cannot work. And you just have to accept that, you know what? It's either you're going to spend all your time fighting or you're just going to be like,
reminds me of how
I'm scattering this plane.
I wanted to argue with my dad when we were looking for an office. Blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, so it's misogyny you want to use to do aluta. He said, okay, I pity you. Because my father was telling me, no, he will go
and get
it done. I was thinking with my money. He said, okay, you want to be doing aluta inside this one? So no problem. Let me know when you're tired. I was so embarrassed.
And I hate it. I hate every time I have to call. And I know that this call that I'm making is, I need a guy to sort this thing out.
To say exactly what I said.
Exactly what I've said. I just need you to come in and do whatever you people do. Then they will answer you.
Yeah.
I hate it. But the truth is, at this point, I've also realized I don't have the time to be wasting.
Or the energy.
Dragging so many low-level things.
Yeah.
In order to just, I don't even know, there's nothing to even prove. They won't answer you. Yeah. They won't answer you. Yeah. There's a certain caliber of Nigerian. I said they're not answering you. In their minds, they can't believe it. Like it can't enter there. They're just like you.
A woman talking to me.
It's crazy. And it's very jarring to realize we're still there.
Yes.
We're very much still there.
And the way I'm looking at it, we'll still be there.
No, we'll still be there for a time. And it was so funny because one friend has started speaking Yoruba. The other friend was speaking perfectly English. By the letter of the law, this kidnapping.
Yes. Now we have a range of...
I said, Esquire, please. That's not what this calls for. I said,
what was a lawyer?
He started reading us wanting code. I said, my guy.
This is not the time,
No, we have all sorts of people.
And then when he turned to talk to me, he was still speaking Yoruba pidgin. I said, just breathe. He said the English has gone. He can't speak English. My friend is yellow. He was red. He was boiling. I said,
reminds me of one of John's other friends. No, this is just John in general. So you know how sometimes people get really, really angry and they say stuff like, I'll kill him. How this or that. John will say, you can't kill him. John will say, you can't do that. Let me just tell you now. You can't do that. John is one of the funniest people. John doesn't understand when people lose their temper. He doesn't get it. His whole thing is, he'll be telling you when you're getting angry. And I'm not joking, no. John won't wait. As you're vexing there, nothing like United Front. He'll be whispering to you. I didn't tell them I was not coming home. You'll be there shouting, thinking you're dealing with. He won't join you. John will be saying that they have police outside in this place. These shouts you're shouting, they will carry us. And I didn't tell them in my house where I'm going. He will just be warning us that let's all
have sense. Telling us a story that, people like you're going out and then maybe you're a group of friends, but then they let people in and they don't like. I know all this nonsense they do. Yeah. So I guess one of the remaining part of the group that they didn't let in, and John had gone in, and they were fighting with the bouncers, and the bouncers were being rude to them. So he said, John, let's go. John said, we have gotten in. Unfortunately, this is going to be it for everybody. So he's not the one to try and do, let's go and fight.
No, actually.
No, you have to know, what I realize in these things, you have to know who's called as ready to rock.
Yes.
There are people that I called that I said, when I told them, they said, wow, just give me a couple of moments, we'll be there like mad. So anyway, these are the things that are going on. So everybody should well done. Congratulations.
A long and eventful weekend.
Congratulations all.
Except Toyosi Alexis.
This season of I Said What I Said is brought to you by Coins by Bamboo.
Our resident fame.
Yes, and Coins by Bamboo is a remittance app that allows Nigerians in Canada send money back home to Nigeria. So if you're paying bills, taking care of family, donating to a cause, Coins Bamboo day for you.
If you also want to send money to me, you are free.
Please.
Also, they have a double-sided referral program. Ask me, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Okay, that means you, the referee, and you, the referrer.
Okay.
See what I did there? You will both get 10 Canadian dollars. If the person you refer does a transaction of up to 100 Canadian dollars within the first 30 days of them joining the app. So, you know,
nice.
Lovely times.
So you guys should use our referral code ISWIS. We're going to put the link in all the bios to sign up. And make sure you share and actually send the money so that we can all make
we can all make the referrals and we'll share it with you. They say, well, Jola will contact her.
All right, guys, enjoy the episode.
Bye.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, but a lot of fun.
But Toyosi, tell us a bit about what you do.
Wow, I've spilled my coffee. Can I have tissue? You carry on.
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with severe hearing loss at the age of 4. And for context, what that means is that, what that meant rather at the time was that I couldn't hear at all without my hearing aids. So I wear hearing aids in both ears right now. And when before the diagnosis, I was young and I would play and my mom would call my name and I just wasn't responding. So at first they thought this girl is being rude. What exactly? But then obviously over time you're like, okay, something is wrong here. So she actually thought that it was my speech. She thought that because obviously I wasn't hearing. So I wasn't hearing the sounds to be able to mimic them.
Yeah.
So instead of saying things like sit down, I would say shit down and little things like that. So she took me to speech therapy and my speech therapist at the time was like, okay, we need to run tests. So they took me to London. I did a couple of tests and then they diagnosed me with severe hearing loss. And yeah, I've worn hearing aids ever since then. I lived in Nigeria for up to till I was 15, 16. And I went to Grange and the bullying there, I loved Grange though. I really enjoyed my time. But
I mean, it's also good.
yeah. But the bullying there was just crazy. Because obviously I wasn't pronouncing words. And also what came with that was that usually people would learn how to pronounce words maybe when they're 4 or 5. But then I was in Grange, 10 years old, 11 years old in year 7, when I'm learning in physics about the law of attraction. I go back home and I'm having speech therapy lessons, learning how to pronounce certain words, certain sounds. And even till today, I still struggle a little bit. I remember when I started in Grange and I was having orientation and a group of guys, I think it had gotten around that this girl, she can't really speak properly. He now called me. He was like, oh, pronounce this word. Pronounce that word. So I'm just there a little 10-year-old girl, obviously responding and pronouncing the words. And now it wasn't funny then, but now I actually laugh about it because I'm a lot more confident about my disability and just having these conversations. So over time, obviously that eventually affected me, and then I would hide in the bathroom during lunch breaks and stuff because I was so anxious. There was a time I was just talking to this guy. I wouldn't say dating because what did I know about dating then? But we were talking and I liked him. He liked me back then. One day I woke up, I said I didn't like him anymore. So I told him that I didn't like him anymore. And I think we were going back and forth on Twitter. And I was like, oh, so why can't you say all of these things to my face? He goes, I would, but you wouldn't hear me.
Jesus.
I remember.
Wow.
So I would go to my sisters. I'm like, see what they said to me and everything. And those things affected my confidence. But then 100%. I then moved to England and obviously found my community. I mean, now I've moved back to Nigeria, but I feel I needed that time away to just really feel I was normal and I wasn't abnormal. I didn't need to be fixed. So that's a little bit about me.
I think it's really sad that a lot of stuff that's supposed to be caught when you're much younger, very early on.
Yeah.
So all those tests that we laugh at people for doing, it's like, ENT doctors and stuff that they're very specific about with children. It's really important because my youngest brother wore hearing aids for a little while. So he was born quite jaundiced, and he had lots of effects that we didn't know. So one of the first things was that Jorelu will be playing and would be calling him, but it just seemed like he was ignoring us constantly. And he was a cheeky little boy. So my parents are just under the assumption that he was being cheeky, but he was having like issues. And that was when they realized that he needed hearing aids, and he was in school and he had a particularly lovely teacher. I'll never forget her, Auntie Grace, who worked a lot with kids that...
Are you sure it's not my speech therapy? Because my speech therapist is Auntie Grace.
Well. Yeah, does she wear glasses?
Yeah.
Thick glasses.
Yeah.
She's married to a man that's short.
Yeah.
It's her.
Oh my God. What a small world.
It's her.
Yeah.
She's the kindest. I think that was... So the main thing really was my parents were obsessed with her because she had this thing about children with differences. They are not different. I don't know how to explain it. She was just very insistent. And at the time, it was very novel. That almost like there's actually nothing wrong with these children.
And he should not be treated
I don't know how to explain it. Like there's nothing wrong with these children. And she was infinitely patient because the kids will, first of all, it takes a long time to get used to the hearing aids.
Yeah.
And then kids are very sensitive. So they know when people point and stuff. So to even get them to wear it often, they are careless. Sometimes they'll throw tantrums and turn it off. By themselves.
This is sounding too familiar.
Yes.
Even true today.
They'll throw tantrums and literally like my brother, he actually doesn't want to hear what you're saying anyway. So he'll put it off. Right? Or remove the battery. Like so that he won't hear. He doesn't want to hear what you're actually saying.
But I think that is that you actually just... Do you know that I can't hear what you're saying?
Yes, but then also...
It's just saying rubbish.
I think the one thing that I really realized was it's so sad that it took a while for us to realize that I had a hearing difficulty, or that just a lot of early checks were missed, and a lot of things would have been easier for him if
it was
found much earlier. So I'm not surprised that you said it took so long. Because I'm sure your mom was there are things you take your kids to the hospital for.
And you just don't, I think it's just the not imagining that is a thing.
Yeah.
Especially because if you're not completely deaf, then you don't, if you are, then that might be a bit more obvious.
Obvious.
Yeah, there's a range of things. Do you find that now, obviously you talk a lot about, you work with people are sort of checking earlier and getting more, because what I wanted to ask about was how it was for your family, your friends, everybody around you to also, especially early on, younger, adjust and be like, and not try to make it easier for you, but try to make it so that you don't feel othered.
Yeah, I think my mom played a huge part in this. And honestly, when you mentioned like Auntie Grace, like I was going to speak about her like today because she played a massive impact in my confidence, in me as a person, in the patience that you mentioned.
It's so wild she's the same person. Because when she was moving, was it that we left? So I think either my brother moved school or when she got married, she left Grace because she was at Grace primary school. Wow. We were all very distraught. No, genuinely, because I don't know how to explain it. There's something about the teacher not being frustrated.
That is very, very important.
And patient.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So my mom always like made an effort to kind of just tell me like, you wear hearing aids, but like there's nothing different about you. Like you can get on accolades, you can get awards at school. But I think I really do want to shed light on the fact that at first it wasn't easy because I think I'm Christian. So coming from like a home where people have prayed and faith, the result is to take you to the pastor, not just even Christians, but also Muslims like just trying to find a solution. And so that was a thing at first for a couple of years, like just getting me the hearing aids, but still kind of hoping that
trying for
the story will turn around.
And you have to do things in faith.
Exactly.
So you can't wear the hearing aids all the time and think that God is going
Yeah,
to
you
heal
have
you.
to
from all sorts of mountains.
No, it's true.
Yeah, so like that was a huge thing for a couple of years. And then I actually moved to London, and I then met other people. Like I realized, because I didn't have any disabled or deaf friend growing up at all, which is so crazy to me. Like people would just see me and say, "What's that on your ear? You look like children."
Yes, I know.
Are so forward, and I mean,
and
that's why
they're
also like inquisitive, because they're just like, "Oh, what's that?"
Yeah, and also now, like hearing aids are like inconspicuous.
Yeah.
Before,
they used to be huge.
Yeah.
My brother would be so upset. Let's say we're going out or we're going to a party, and he has to wear. Oh,
I remember in A-level, like the girl that she changed hers at some point, and it was a whole thing where, because the first ones she had were big, and then the next one she had like fit, and they were also skin tone like match. It was a huge thing.
It was a huge thing. So that was like a thing for a while, and eventually, like I told my mom, I was like, why do I keep like? Because I kid you not, every New Year's will come. And I'll be like, this is the year I'm going to get my hearing back. And so for a couple of years, 16 years, I actually felt inadequate until like I had full hearing, because people had told me that like God is going to restore your hearing and then everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So I kept waiting for that, like everything will be fine. But eventually I told my mom, I was like, I actually don't want to do this anymore. It's not to say that healing can never come. But I was like, healing is actually different for everyone, Emotional healing is a thing where you come to a place of just accepting yourself and being like, okay, this is who I am. So that thing about like catching it early, and it's like getting the adequate care, taking your child to the
having the options.
Exactly. Having the option to even, learn sign language or to speak, because I didn't have the option when I was younger. Like I that conversation, I don't really know what happened with regards to that conversation.
With sign language.
Yeah. But
so did you ever learn?
I mean, I am learning, but BSL. Okay. So now in Nigeria, we do ASL and NSL. BSL? Pardon?
What's the difference, ASL, BSL?
So BSL is British Sign Language, ASL is American Sign Language. So I know Nigerian system goes based off the...
British, yeah.
No, the ASL
Really?
one.
Okay.
Yeah. But then some people also say like Nigerian Sign Language as well. So like it's like a mixture of ASL and BSL. Nigerian Sign Language. So I feel like that's what I would say. And obviously my siblings, I was the only one. I also grew up in a hearing family. So I know that there's some deaf people that grew up in like deaf families. So that's easier.
Yeah, because it's already exactly. People already know what to do.
Exactly. But being the only person, it's a bit different. Obviously, they had to become more sensitive to that. Let's say I would go swimming, because back then, like you said, the hearing aids were bulky. Yeah. Now, like my hearing aids can withstand maybe a drop of water or like a bit of water. But back then, if I just put it in the bathroom and I enter the shower, the steam, by the time I come out, it has spoiled.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that also caused me to have a lot of anxiety, because
it could have gone bad anytime.
And we didn't really have access to like good healthcare that, you can just go to the doctor, see an audiologist, and they won't charge you an outrageous amount of money. So that's what I would say. Because now, like, hearing aids cost. I when I moved back, I wanted to get like spare hearing aids. So I went and I was like, "Oh, I'm looking to get spare hearing aids." It was like, "Yeah, that would be 18 million naira."
Sorry.
Did you say 1-8?
Sorry.
1-8.
Sorry. Just once more. Sorry.
Okay, and you think your parents won't pray?
Like I was.
If I hear say Nigerians won't be
18 million. How much is anointing oil?
Okay, like man. What's Uber to redeem camp?
Oh, you think it was not about God? Oh,
let me tell you something. Now that you said it, I'm seeing another angle. Nigeria said, God, you will do this. I'm sorry, what?
18 million.
Sorry, no. Like,
for
is that...
like, for
my God, no, for only one.
No, because I want to get into it. Is that like the locks, like Tesla?
Yes, or the Benz.
Do you get like, is it Rolls Royce you're wearing?
No, now, guys, let's just...
No, they're grades of. No, genuinely.
Okay, to be fair, the hearing aids I'm wearing are more on the expensive side.
Okay, but what's like the average hearing aids price?
when I posted, because I posted a video about this on TikTok, people were like, you can get some for like 800K, 1 million naira in a government hospital. Some people said that they charge them about like 4 million naira per hearing aid. But like it just ranges. The ones I'm wearing right
to be
now,
honest, even at 800K 1M, especially if the one I'm buying will spoil with water, that is a lot of money. The average Nigerian, how many 1 million do you have?
Yeah, you really don't. Like if you think about it, how much?
Unless you just decide anybody on my left, just forget it.
Yeah.
Just forget it, because I can't lie, if I've spent 18 million, we'll all choose which side. Everybody stand here.
Yeah.
That is.
I'm sorry, that's outrageous.
That's expensive. Like it really is expensive. So sometimes I think about like, you know, the average Nigerian who maybe may not have the privilege to have gone to London or done all of these things. And I feel like that's what has brought me to where I am today. Just because obviously like in England, the hearing aids are free. But in Nigeria, somebody is having to spend like
all that money.
Up to like 1 million naira for hearing aids that should be free, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there's like the Tesla, the ones I'm wearing are
the ones you can choose.
But then there's also pretty affordable ones. And I don't feel like it needs to be a hassle or
it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. You should be able to just get, I mean, there's obviously everything has, I mean, even glasses, they're normal glasses that you can buy. They're nice, but even the price of a normal glasses, they're not going to put you out.
Yeah.
This is rent money.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Many rents,
like it's actually far out.
Yeah.
So you leave people in a situation where it's not that they don't want to help you, they can't. A lot of people will just simply not. If that's what they're serving in government hospital, once you get to private, what do you want to do?
I think it's really interesting. So one thing I wanted to ask you about was, so in your family, like what's your position? Are you the first child? Are you
last?
Yeah, the last.
I should have asked you guys what you think. I give serious last born.
No, it's not that.
I would have guessed last born, to be fair.
I would have actually.
I can't lie.
I would have. But there's a very peaceful vibe you have. That's
peaceful.
Yeah, used to people sorting things out.
Yeah. Like
fair enough, actually.
Yes. You there's a thing about having people to call when you have questions. Firstborns, we don't have it. So it's different. But I wanted to ask, because the reason I think that's important is I suspect sometimes that with my youngest brother, there are things my parents took for granted because they weren't new to the parenting experience. So I think there's an anxiety that comes with a first child. So any small thing, they go to the hospital very quickly. But I do sometimes think that over time, it's easy to make assumptions. She's just being cheeky. But you know, if it's your first child, you're not going to wait.
Because you've never seen anything.
You've not seen anything. Yeah. And so I always like asking people just a random question about how like things like that. But I wanted to ask about like with your siblings, how has your relationship or friendship developed? Because there's something about take care of your baby sister, watch out for her or she's anxious. And sometimes the family doesn't mean to, but they turn a person to a project in a way that might be, because kids are still kids, that might be uncomfortable or difficult for siblings. Because children are taught patience. They don't have it immediately. So I'm wondering if there are things like your parents did, or it was stuff that you had to learn as a family over time, or like how you're basically just what it was like growing up.
Yeah. So like my parents always kind of just told my siblings, like to watch out for me.
Yeah.
My two eldest siblings were much older. So one is like 30, another is like
so said like 30.
And they're much older.
Aged.
When you hit the 30 mark, sometimes like I'm like, I need to remember, are you 30 or 31? So around that.
Wow, so old.
Some of us here are neither 30. Some of us here are neither 30 nor 31.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
So big in age, big in number. Don't mind us. Yeah,
don't mind. Anyway,
so like the one above me, Ibukun, she's about 2 years older than me. So she wasn't like range when I was there. So she kind of always just like looked out for me. And I will always place like importance on community, because your parents tell your sister, you need to watch out for Toyosi. But then the sister then goes on to then tell her friends who kind of just form this community around you. So the bullying that I mentioned, like when things like that will happen, my sister and her friends would like go and be like, what's going on? But obviously they can't be there every time.
Yeah.
So that's the struggle. But when they could be there, like my sister especially, she was like a warrior. But I feel like it's also worth noting that my mom also kind of just brought me up to also be independent.
Yeah.
But in terms of even growing up, like, I don't know, like sometimes, I don't know why, but sometimes I didn't struggle academically, but most times actually, I really relied on my mom for like studying. And it was a weird thing. Like, I would just be like, I would retain information better when she just read it out to me.
Oh.
So she would literally bring my book and like read the book from the front to the back, and I would go and write my exams and I would do well. But she kind of just instilled in me over time that, like, you know, you need to grow up, you need to be independent, because eventually you're going to go abroad and you won't be there. But in terms of my siblings, like, they really did do a good job. I remember there was a time where someone, like, I got on accolades and someone was like, I think a mom to her child was like, oh, that Toyosi, she's wearing hearing aids, she got on accolades. Like, why can you? And it was a weird comment because it was like,
what are you trying to
what
say?
does that mean?
What does that
Why
mean?
are you pointing that out? Just abuse them that they don't have two heads like a normal person.
Why you say Toyosi that is playful?
Yeah.
Which one is Toyosi that is wearing hearing aids? Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah, so like growing up, it was my siblings were very like on top of it. But eventually Ibukun left because obviously she was 2 years above me, and I kind of just had to
figure it out.
What of friends? What was it like making friends or meeting people?
It was tough.
Was it very different here and then when you moved to London?
Yes, it was, because here kids are very inquisitive, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
So people haven't seen this thing before, and it was bulky, guys. Like, it was really big. I was like, oh God. Like, you know how your brother was like, oh God. Like, sometimes I'm just like, sometimes you just want to go to school. Nobody asking you any questions. And when there's a new kid, it comes with new questions as well. But sorry, what was your question again?
Like
making friends.
Yes.
And also in London.
I had a best friend. I'm still friends with her. Her name is Debola. The first day I started school when I was 4, she just walked up to me and she was like, hi. And I was like, hi. And then I told her, I think she asked me like, what's on you? I said, oh, I'm deaf. Like, I wear hearing aids. You guys, from that day till today, she never left my hands. Like, even when people would come and, you know, try and start fights or just try and say things, like, I had that one person. And the thing about having that one person is that it helps in terms of, like, when people see somebody being friends with someone else, they would gradually gravitate towards people like that. Then when I moved to England, that came with a lot of anxiety. I actually became a lot more quiet. It was a new environment. You know, like, I was there alone without my family for the first time ever. I'm navigating like people who are different in color, just like a very different vibe. But I would say though, that was the first time they asked me, like, you're deaf. We saw you put it on your application sheet. Like, do you require any help? Like,
like
I was
in
like,
school.
what do they mean by that? Because I had to do French listening IGCSE exams in Grange. And you think that they will even put the transcription for me
you
to be able to read. But when I asked about that, they were like, I can take my exam privately, like in a room without other students. But that was it back then.
Oh, wow.
But then obviously when I did move to England, like, there's different accessibility accommodations. There's a different conversation. It's not perfect, I would say that. But it's very like different. Like, you can actually ask for things and they will be given to you. In Nigeria, I struggled, like, just in terms of that. But even I would say that I didn't really struggle with having friends. I had friends. ingrained. I did have friends, even if they were like 2 or 3 people. I had friends. Like, there are lovely people in the world, and it just, it helps when it's one.
Do you feel like you missed out on anything because
of my hearing loss? I missed out on certain experiences, but I don't think I missed out on a lot. When I say certain experiences, I mean things like swimming classes. I would come up with excuses.
Not to
because
go.
I didn't want people asking me questions, or if I took off the hearing aids, I won't hear anything. So people are talking to me, or like the swimming instructor, like it's a different experience. So I would say something like that because that was a big thing in school at the time. But I feel like my parents made a very huge effort to kind of involve me in things that able-bodied children would have access to. So I wouldn't say I missed out on a lot, but like just like little things where I just felt maybe a little bit isolated.
Okay, so you talked about accessibility, and even so, last year we had like 2 really cool guests who are vision impaired, and it was small things that they said that you just don't think about.
You never think about it.
Yes.
And, I mean, they were great. I love them because they were great guests just in general. And they were hilarious. But there were so many things they mentioned that I just kept being like, do you know, in my life, I can never think
I would
of
never ever think of things like that. And I think it's one of the things, I do think a society should be measured on how they treat people who are different, like people who struggle or people who have just different abilities. So a lot of times, I think in African societies, we try to model society around like the biggest, the strongest, the fastest. And it becomes like a dog-eat-dog situation. And that's how you build your morals or your moral code. But I do think that if you look at societies that try to think of, this is our ideal, what could potentially go wrong here? And how do we make it so that this type of person doesn't miss out on anything? If you look at societies that think about life like that, I do think they're much better. So I wanted to ask you, just like you wake up in the morning, what are a couple of things going through the day that you think people who aren't hearing impaired take for granted or that are important? So the first thing she said when she sat down was, could you make sure that the captions, like closed captioning? And I was just like, do you know, it's so odd that I've never thought of it.
I wouldn't think of it.
It's just not top of mind for me. It's just like, I want to watch a show, right? It doesn't occur to me to be like, I wonder if people
would be able to.
Right? So just walk us through like what a typical average day is and what people aren't thinking about or aren't noticing.
Yeah, so like for my alarms, like to wake up for work or like school. When I was younger, my mom, because obviously you didn't have your phones in school, so my mom would actually have to wake me up, which was fine, thank God. But then obviously when I moved and I was alone, sometimes I wouldn't hear my alarm. But I had friends who would be like, oh my God, like I think Toyosi has missed her alarm, and would come to my room and wake me up. So like a typical day in my life would be that I would wake up and there are some people that need time to defrost.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I talk about the challenges, but I like to talk about like the benefits.
Yeah.
So like I just defrost. I don't turn on my hearing aids. For like till like 12, I can just be, or if I don't have to, I'm just not really hearing anything. When I watch movies, I have to turn on the captions. Like it's a thing for me. Like I struggle to hear if the captions aren't there.
Sorry, let me stop you here. Does that mean like going to the cinema here is a task?
Oh yeah, I hate going to the cinema.
Yeah, because they never have.
They don't have options of captioning.
They don't have showings that have.
Yeah.
But again, not something here, but I wouldn't think about.
Yeah, because there's some cinemas that have like actual subtitle screenings. Not in Nigeria, but you can go to specific subtitle screenings for popular movies. So that's one thing I say I struggle with. COVID. That was bad, guys. Like, because people were wearing masks, and I'm like, you can't. Oh my God, you can't see. But I lip read. That's another thing. I lip read. Some people don't. So if let's say someone is backing me, I wouldn't hear them
what
well.
They're saying. Yeah.
The other day, but it was last month. I broke my foot. Like I mentioned, I went to the hospital, and I couldn't walk. So the doctor was pushing me on a wheelchair to get an X-ray. And he was saying some things to me, like he was standing behind me. I was like, I'm deaf in both ears. I can't hear you. And with Nigerians, you have to point to the hearing aid because it's small. Do you know what he said to me?
What?
He started shouting. He repeated himself and started shouting. And I'm like, I still can't hear you. I'm like, can you please come in front of me to like repeat yourself? I was like, I'm deaf. He was like, you're not. I was like, how can I be telling you I'm deaf? Like, are you telling me?
Do you know Nigerians are so special? They're actually so special because you're not is a thing that I would 100% expect them to say.
Doctor, I'm so serious. I'm not
because they're just looking at you like, okay, you don't look deaf.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Yeah, Ahmed and Faith were telling us how people would see they are blind and start shouting.
What?
And they're like, no. It's the eye that is not working. I can't hear you. Don't worry.
Oh my God. Yeah. So like, I don't even remember.
You're not is really an insane response.
You're not as crazy. Like I was, I was just like, you know what? Like, and then he now goes, you're not. He now goes something about like the X-ray.
Yeah.
You could tell he was not even trying. He wasn't listening to what I was saying. He wasn't trying to be educated on why
or anything.
I'm deaf.
Like
I'm like,
that.
it doesn't matter the level of deafness. You're deaf. Because when I was growing up, that's another thing. My mom would be like, oh, like it wasn't like she was saying you're not deaf, but that was seen as like negative language.
Yeah.
So when I started calling myself disabled, you could tell that she was just looking at me like, okay, this thing is switch here.
Says her enemy's child that is disabled. It's not our own. If you like, say whatever you are saying. That's
honestly, I feel like a lot of parents struggle with like the line between reality and power of the tongue. Because I'm just like, I can't be lying.
Yeah. So that's like a typical. Those are like my major needs: lip reading, captions. Sorry, my throat. Right. Lip reading, captions. I feel like those are the two main things for me. And also, I get overly stimulated. I know everyone does, but like, if someone is talking for too long, like, I wouldn't say now, but if let's say I'm in a meeting for 3 hours, bro, after a while, I'm just like...
Do you ever just turn it off? You're like...
Yeah, I mean, I can't because it's work, but if I'm like, talking to my siblings and we're going back and forth. That thing that you mentioned, it's a joke like amongst my cousins. And I seriously, whenever she's angry, she just turns off her hearing aids. I'm like, yeah.
I mean, it's fair enough.
It is. I can't lie. That's a valid.
You have to take your privileges where you can find them.
Because at that point, the person talks to you knows that, okay, so this conversation has finished.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for everything you said.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's just kind of important for people to see and understand. And also, part of the reason I wanted you to come, and I hope this doesn't sound somehow, is there's this understanding of people who have different abilities or who are disabled. Nigerians, I think part of it, you people should not laugh, I think part of it is our condition, in that Nigerians go through a lot. And I think there's something about feeling like you need to be able to pity somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So there's our approach, right, to disabilities is very interesting in that this person needs to be a permanent victim. So we don't even have any interest in rearranging society to allow people to live full lives on their own. That this person is going to be part of the permanent underclass. One, they are an example to others.
Yeah. And also they need to also present like they're also a victim. There's a sense that it's almost uncomfortable when it's like, okay, but you don't present. That's what they were saying when they came. That people would be like, oh, but you don't look blind. And you'll be wondering, what does that mean?
Yeah.
They always ask me, but you don't sound deaf. I'm like, what does that mean? Like,
so what it is that a lot of, I'm trying to think of if there are a lot of indigent people who have met. So you got hearing aids when you were 4.
Yeah.
A lot of the sounds we hear deaf people make is because that's the best they can hear.
Mimic. Yeah.
And so we associate it with like an inability to learn. Is that no, but this person just actually never learned to speak.
Yeah.
And so the best they can do is that frustrating mouth movement because they're trying to they know exactly what they want to say, but they can't communicate.
And so they take that case to be everybody's case.
Yes, and they take it to be that the person is slow
or unintelligent.
Or unintelligent because the person is trying their best to communicate, but they're making these sounds that seem unintelligible. Yeah. But what they're trying to say is, I heard you, let's go.
Yeah.
But they keep doing this thing and they're getting flustered and they're doing these body movements and you're just seeing them say, yeah. And the mother is a nice lady. God, God will help us. But you see, that's what I'm trying to say. Our society is so interesting in that if people are not pitiable, we don't think of them as people that can work and have full lives.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to ask you about office, like work, what offices ought to be doing or can be doing. Like, I remember
how your work is for you now.
I remember now it's something I think about a lot. Like things I just take for granted: staircases, doors, alarms, all those kind of things. Like if you get into an office space, how is someone in a wheelchair who's an excellent accountant meant to get certain opportunities if
they can't even reach the office?
They're supposed to get to Lagos Island every day. How are they supposed to do it? Right? Just small things like that. But I wanted to ask what.
No, that is so like, it's apt because that thing of the victim thing and just kind of just being like, you know, they're disabled. Sorry. But there's no like, okay, post-diagnosis, let's actually set these people up with like the right care that they need. And let's be honest, like a huge factor of why that is the case is poverty.
Yeah.
Like people don't actually have the money. You know, I was speaking to someone who lives in Benin State and he called me and he was like, oh, you know, my daughter, she was diagnosed with hearing loss. She used to wear hearing aids, but we can't afford them anymore. And so that is the reality for a lot of people. Maybe they are given the right support, but then they don't have the money to sustain it. But in terms of jobs, that's one thing that is so important because over there you see people who are like physically disabled and I worked on a couple of like different consulting opportunities with like the Paralympics and I used to work for Estee Lauder. When I got there, like Joe Malone, because that was what I used to work for, I told them before I joined, I'm like, I'm deaf in both ears. What accessibility accommodations do you have? And I think that was like at an open day or something. And you could tell on their faces that they were like, oh, I wasn't expecting that question. And they just said, okay, you know, they're working on like different things, etc. And when I actually did start work there, they sat me down. They were like, what do you need? What are the different assistive technologies that you need? So like my hearing aids connect to my Apple device, which can connect to my phone and everything is just kind of just in synergy. So for that reason, I requested a MacBook.
Yeah.
But like in Nigeria, they might think, oh, you're just trying to
get
it back.
Because especially if the whole office is using HP, all of a sudden you be different.
So that's one thing. But I think in terms of like jobs, in terms of work, over 62.5% of the Nigerian population are currently unemployed. Of the disabled Nigerian population are unemployed. Like you see so many of them on the road, so many of them. And it's not that they're not smart. You know, I'm part of this advisory board. And when I was there, like I met this guy, he's more like, he's shorter than usual, maybe about like this height.
Yeah.
And he wears glasses, but I think he's kind of visually impaired in one eye, sorry. And then he doesn't speak and he's deaf. So all he does is that he signs.
Yeah.
But he's so smart. And because obviously he doesn't speak, he makes sounds though.
Yeah.
He's mastered the ability to be able to communicate what he's saying. Speaking, I think he should be about in his 40s or so. And he's so intelligent. But I feel like in a country like in Nigeria, they see someone like that, they think, no, this person is not worth listening to. And I really want to like shed light on that, on the fact that disabled people are enough, especially to like disabled people who maybe might be watching this and may be feeling like, oh, I can't get a job, I can't do this, I can't do that. I think saying that thing of like, you are enough, because for so many years, I thought I wasn't enough. I thought the only solution out of this is if God miraculously restores my hearing. But so many disabled people do not have jobs at the moment. And I'm really hoping that the government does more work. I know, let's be real, like I was speaking to someone, I won't mention the name, but you know, in the government, and they said something, yeah, you know, they're giving out rice and they're and I just said, okay. And I just cut the call because at that point, I was like, I have to actually do my own thing here. Like, I can't, it's not
You actually can't wait for them.
Yeah, you can't wait for them because if you think it's about rights, or like, for instance, I went for an event and they were giving out hearing aids here. And, people were like clapping and so excited. I was like, this is really good, but this is so crazy that I'm at this event. It's with deaf people. There's a huge deaf audience here, different children. There's no live transcription. Like Microsoft PowerPoint has an automatic live transcription
that you
for
can
free.
just put.
That you just a button that you need to press, or like a sign language interpreter there, like those kind of things. So I feel like for Nigeria, it's from the basics, from like conferences to, in the workplace, there's being open-minded to allow disabled people say, this is actually what I need. And then saying, okay, we can provide it.
Yeah.
Or maybe at the moment, we actually can't provide this specific thing. But I feel like workplaces, in all honesty, you have budget. Like disabled people should not be last on the budget because you have budget to be able to throw your end of year party.
You're doing a lot of things and a lot of the things you're saying are not that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like what you just said, I mean, the PowerPoint is free. And now there's a lot of AI that will do the caption for you. It's not that, maybe before you could excuse it with the technology, but now there is, all your meetings can be automatically transcribed.
Exactly.
Everything can be transcribed at the moment.
And like what she's saying is important. It's not that they're looking for perfection. It's just efforts. Let's start with efforts because I do think it's important because there are some things that are, for lack of a better word, sort of like top down, and it will give people a bit more confidence. There's a helplessness attached to disability. People are really morose if they have a child with any sort of deviation.
Because you know that it limits their options in a way where in other places, it doesn't automatically mean that you are as in so far down on the totem pole. Whereas here, it's just like,
and then
what will you do?
The worst that then happens is because parents have that idea, they don't even try with that child at all.
And so the child then believes that because that's all you have. So your options are limited to just very little things. It's really crazy. I wanted to ask, because you mentioned the guy that said from Benin that said he couldn't buy another. How often does anybody have to change their hearing aids?
So I changed mine like every 2 to 3 years. Maybe not 2 to 3, maybe like 3 to 4, I would say. But again, I would factor in like different backgrounds and stuff, influences.
Like the way you're using it.
When I was younger and I lived in Nigeria, I wasn't changing them that often because if the hearing aid spoiled and you send it back, I think back then they used to send one pair back because like they couldn't send both pairs because I would struggle. So they would send one pair back. It would take about 3 months before it then comes back. So it's like it took a really long time. So that's what I would say. Like not that often, but yeah.
Yeah. So even if they give you the free one, it could come a time later on where if something happens, they don't. And all these things where they're giving out free, are they also providing potential maintenance or like another option?
Yeah. Here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's a good conversation because I don't know what the aftercare is like, and that's what I worry. It's that people come and they put on these huge events and say, look, we're giving out free hearing aids or free glasses or free this. And I feel like hearing aids are even a bit more different because they're so expensive.
Yeah.
So if there's even that thing that you said about like adjusting, when I would get hearing aids when I was younger, I used to get headaches a lot. So even adjusting to that was a different thing. And obviously I had a speech therapist and an audiologist who kind of guided me through that. But for people who don't,
might
like
not be
that
able
could
to have
be
that
a struggle.
support.
Exactly.
Oh wow. I wanted to ask, how is like just socializing different? Well, I guess here in Nigeria, but also in general, just for you. Is there anything that if two of us go out, I might not think about when we're out?
So my hearing aids right now, they're Bluetooth and they are like they adjust based off the environment.
Yeah.
So now that we're in like a quiet environment, it focuses on the people in front of me. But then when we go to like concerts or parties and they're playing loud music, it would actually kind of like, I don't even know what the word is, but it would kind of tune out the noise.
Yeah.
And so how I would hear here is very different from how I would hear in like a party. So, I mean, I was telling my boyfriend this the other day and he was laughing because we were at a party and he was like, can you hear the song? And I was like, no. And people around me were like dancing already. Like the song had started. I was like, I don't hear the song until people start like lip reading.
So you know the song.
Oh my God. So like those are things like that. You would be like, obviously, but the music is so loud that all I'm hearing is the beat. Like I'm just hearing the beat. I'm not really hearing
like the lyrics. That's
so
crazy.
like exactly. So I feel like that's one thing I would say that people wouldn't realize.
Because I just wondered that, like, I wonder how it is like going out, parties, Owambes, how, because I can't hear what you are saying.
Yes.
In that scenario. So I'm always wondering that, how does that work? Because there's loud music and then there's also conversations like happening closer to you. That's
well,
really
what's
crazy.
it like? What was it like when you wanted to start dating? Were you anxious? Did you overthink it?
Guys, I'm pretty shy, so I didn't really think about that. Not that it doesn't matter.
Let everybody face front.
This face card, he'll be okay.
I was like, to some people in a negative way, they might say I'm deaf, but shy, like I can dress.
Please, face card is not declining. She didn't have any issues with that.
No, but like, I wouldn't say I did. I know it's a thing though for my deaf friends, like a lot of anxiety around that. But I'm just like, why would you look at? I feel like it's different though, because obviously there's different disabilities.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, why would you look at someone and be like, oh, I don't want to date him, like he's in a wheelchair, you know? I mean, like that's your preference, fair enough. But I think for you to make it seem like such a negative thing, like it shows more of a reflection of who that person is. So I would say that, but there was definitely anxiety though, because I take off my hearing aids to sleep.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, to swim. So I'm like, I hated anything to do with water. I'm like, bro, I really don't want to do that because I would then go and this guy tried to chat me up and I can't enter the pool at the beach and I can't enter the pool. I can't enter the pool.
Don't worry, they are saying rubbish anyway.
That's what I was about to say that.
You are not missing
I can't
much.
like, in this one scenario, they're Coco not saying anything.
Nothing useful.
So, me that I'm hearing them, I would like to stop.
You are not hearing, you're not missing much. Nothing past me, I know you.
Oh my God.
Oh wow, you look familiar. Nonsense. You're not missing much.
What's your favorite color?
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. So I would say like apart from that, it was okay.
Well done. I mean, I really, when Fekemi said you wanted to come on, I was thinking about, what kind of questions do I want to ask her? And I can't remember who I said it to that.
Can I tell you the craziest? I feel like it might be the same thing we're about to say because I said this to someone and what they said was so insane.
No, and my friend was like, you grabbed that she's just deaf, just gist. Like, which one is, what question should I ask?
Oh, no, that's not what I was going to say. So I said someone that Toyosi is coming up. They actually know you. So, like, they know who you are. They've seen your page. I said Toyosi Alexis is coming on and we're going to talk about this deaf awareness week. And he said, but you don't know sign language. I said, sorry.
I didn't think about that.
I said, you just told me you've seen her Instagram. Where?
Did you see? Yeah, I don't sign all the time. But I do when I'm talking to like my
and he was just like, oh, but you, Angela, don't know sign language. And I just thought, obviously, if she's coming on, that's not... He kept looking at me that like...
So what are we going to do?
Like, what will you do? How will you... do it. And I just said, bro, wow, we are actually fabulous.
Yeah, Nigerians are
as a society,
people.
yeah.
It's just like, that's what you just said is insane.
We're really something.
And we were laughing, but it's so funny because it's just, I was like, you've gone to the extreme end. Just relax. It's going to be fine. So yeah, I think that kind of reaction is interesting because you just assume And he was just like, oh, you do. I just thought, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Do people feel the need to like say profound things when they meet you like early on, or
when you say profound,
or
You're so brave.
Are they doing too much?
Oh,
like,
yes. Oh my God. Like always. You're so inspiring. You're so brave. Wow, you're so courageous. And I get like what they're trying to, but it's like, come on, like,
just cool down.
Like relax. Like it's like there's nothing. It's not that I'm on them belittling what I've done or the work I've done, but I'm like, I know that this is only because like you see me wearing hearing aids, and it's like, how can this person wearing hearing aids be, working with Sephora or doing this or doing that, and that is what is so mind blowing to me, because when you talk about disability, people are like, oh yeah, I know someone in healthcare, but I'm like, no, like disabled people can do makeup and they can dress up and they can pick their outfit of the day. Like there's so many things that people can do that like disabled people can do that able-bodied people can do. And you don't have to limit us to charity or to healthcare. Do you get what I mean? Like makeup, beauty,
like
fashion,
there's also just normal
things that
you also like, that
sports, gaming. It's just
exactly.
To ask, what made you start kind of advocating and doing that publicly?
So I wrote a letter to my hearing loss, and the first person I spoke to was actually Tiwa of Confident and Killing It. So I messaged her on Instagram and I was like, I'm deaf and I've been feeling so low about my hearing since I moved here, and I'm just feeling like I need to kind of speak about it. I want to write a letter. So I wrote a letter to my hearing loss and I sent it to her and I was like, this is what I wrote, blah, blah, blah. She was like, oh my God, you should post it. I was like, yeah, I don't know about posting, but but she was like, no, like, I think you should post it.
Yeah.
So I posted it and it went viral. Then Phonak, the hearing aids I'm wearing right now, reached out to me and they were like, we want you to be a brand ambassador, like, we'll pay you XYZ to create content and everything and advocate for disabled people. And I was like, me, like, just from getting up and, speaking up about my hearing loss, what has led me to where I am today. And over the years, it's been one thing after the other, because you have Grange and then you go on and you have A-levels. Then after that, you go to university and you're in massive lecture halls.
Yeah.
And COVID happened and lip reading and, people would talk about like struggling with that and just like everything that COVID came with and, maybe going to the doctors and not getting the access or the healthcare that they needed. And so over time, that would happen and people would send me DMs and be like, oh, my little daughter was just diagnosed with hearing loss, but she hasn't worn the hearing aids. Like I've been trying to get her to wear them. She doesn't wear them. She doesn't want to wear them to school. I don't know what to do about that. But I showed her your video and from that, like, she's so inspired.
Yeah.
So I feel like those kind of things are what keep me going, knowing that there's little kids out there, because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, like, what made you become an advocate and be so passionate about it? I was like, growing up, I didn't have anyone. I would go to England for summer and see like old people on a billboard for the NHS wearing hearing aids. But I didn't see young people who maybe danced or maybe like I have a friend, she dances and I will see people commenting on her videos and they're like, how can you dance when you're deaf? Like, how can you hear the music? And I know people are asking genuinely, but having people like that to even be there and educate other people has been what has kept me going, like community, purpose, and what I mentioned.
80 million.
Yes.
Okay, let's do some dilemmas.
Yes. We'll have a bit of fun.
We'll have a bit of fun with this.
We'll come back to some other things. I'm very curious about like consulting work with companies and where you have to start from. Because even from what you're saying, I'm like, there are many things I've not thought about, but that's all well and good. Yeah. Let's do something else. My phone is dead, but I highlighted a couple Boys and girls, please, we've come here today with a request. We've come to beg you. We are on our knees.
Yeah.
Don't forget that we're sitting down. Just imagine it with your mind. Please, they said, you people, you always ask us for many things. Like now, Beyonce won a Grammy. They said, oh, have her on the podcast. Okay, no, good and fine. But how do we want to have her when you don't want to subscribe? You don't want to share the podcast? You don't want to download? What are the other things they do again?
Everything.
Follow, what again? Comment, and what again?
Everything.
All the things.
Just do what you're supposed to do.
Do the things, and then we'll have Beyonce. Very simple.
Yeah.
Okay?
I even made a song. Do you want to hear my song?
That's not the video we're doing right now. Okay, go ahead.
It matters.
See.
Because I need to clear my throat. Let me make sure that is in order.
You don't remember the song?
No, I want to make sure it's in order.
Of what?
Like, share, subscribe, and comment if you're not a bastard, because it's important. That's another song.
That's the whole song.
That's the whole song.
Okay, there's no chorus, hook.
No need.
Bridge.
I'm somebody that I like to be brief, succinct. Tell them what to do. Let them get it in one go. See, you are talking. I did one line. But yeah, guys, you know what to do.
Please.
Yeah.
Do all the
it's
things.
important.
It's important.
It's important.
And then
they want Beyonce to come to a podcast with 40,000 subscribers.
Thank you. When you people will not subscribe. See,
lunatics.
Sometimes you really upset me. Because we're going up and down. Oh, we're the biggest. Only for you to open there, we don't have up to 40,000 people. What's it? What's the essence?
All right, guys, enjoy the rest of the episode.
Don't let us be disgraced as a community, please. Please, don't let us be disgraced, please.
Okay, let's start with something slightly lighter. So this is from Shay. It's one of the ones you highlighted. Who says, so I've been dating this man for about a year now, but I feel like he's being too forward. I'm from a very strict home where you don't just introduce boyfriends, but he was very offended when I didn't invite him to my nephew's naming ceremony and the family get-together we had. I also didn't post him on his birthday, and so he thinks I'm ashamed. But the last time I posted a guy who was just a friend, my brothers were in my DMs asking me a lot of questions. He thinks I'm ashamed of him, and I'm not. He's ready for me to meet his family, and I think he really needs to calm down. We just finished school, and I need to make sure I have built a career for myself. Am I being paranoid, or am I right? Also, the issue of marriage really scares me because I'm from a dysfunctional home.
So he wants to name your nephew?
No, he wants to be at the naming ceremony.
That one in particular for me is quite, I just feel like with a lot of these things, you people are not on the same page.
Yeah.
And so, and the thing is, not only are you not on the same page, you both kind of believe in the place that you are. Mm. So it's a very simple question of, can you bridge the gap or not? In this case, I'm not sure it's sounding like the two of you are in the same direction at all. You are like, just cool down. And it seems like your timeline can now work for him. Yeah. He wants to be naming the nephew immediately. So, and it's just, I just feel like, again, this is a thing that you're not realizing makes you fundamentally incompatible. Yep. But you think it's just what it is. I don't know.
What do you think, Toyosi?
I think maybe like what FK said, I think maybe she wants him to slow down. She might like him,
I think she likes him, but he wants her to speed up so far. Yes. And she's just like,
and that can be a turn up. It can be like, we just met, like, what do you mean you're planning the wedding or anything? So I think maybe she should communicate it to him first. Mm-hmm. And but really and truly, the communication is not going to speed up the timeline. So,
I'm just like, I feel like they're always, every 2 weeks, they're going to keep coming back to this.
To the same
Something
thing
will happen. Yeah. And he's like, oh, you didn't do this. And she's like, but I told you to cool down. And her cooling down might be a year. And he is like, I want you to meet my mom. And she's like, I'm not meeting anybody.
Yeah. So
I think also, if you come from a background that's dysfunctional, you're not going to be in a rush to replicate like what you know. Because it's only what you know that you can have dreams, but you have the reality of what you know. So I think, like you said, you just finished school. It does feel very early and scary to feel like, oh, I've had all these things laid down for me to do, and I want to quickly jump into another like organized set of things to do. So, I mean, you can talk to him and see what his reaction is, just to know Because you already know what you want to do. You just wrote this thing to us to fulfill our righteousness.
I think it's clear that like you're, again, the way I'm hearing it, you're both on very different pages, which is fine. Dating, the point of dating is to discover if you're compatible.
Yeah.
What people have discovered in this situation, what you're actually not. He also wants somebody that before next week, you want to take him to your cousin's house or whatever. And, you know, personally, if I'm also not taking you to the nephew's name.
That's a bit wild.
That's actually,
relax.
That's so, it's not even
like a party.
My nephew's naming. Oh, why do you want to be there? What do you want to do there?
Yeah.
That's so.
And I also think that she shouldn't internalize, because I think there's a thing with guys when like a woman is like, I don't want now. It's about some deep story that, you know, you came from it. Like, you know, I know she mentioned it, but I feel like it's worth also mentioning that if she wants to take things slow and at her own pace, then like it's fine. It doesn't mean that she's living in fear or replicating what her parents.
Yeah, I think the problem, she has to stop imagining that all her steps are leading her back to. But again, if the person you're with is not okay with the pace you want to go at, you people have a fundamental issue.
Yep.
So at this point, he has to make a decision, because unfortunately, it's the person that wants to take it slower that is going to dictate the pace, not the person that is rushing ahead to your naming. So let me know, like the naming thing is really jarring to me.
It's really pissing you off.
No, because of all the things you want to attend in my family, where they are sharing champagne, you don't want to. My nephew's naming.
Yeah, that's mad serious.
That's really a serious gathering that you want to be part of. And I just feel like, also posting you on Instagram, for what?
For what?
I had a rant about being posted on Instagram.
You did, actually.
Yeah. Really?
You did.
I sure did.
Do you agree? Like,
you don't worry about me. You don't worry about me. It's me that knows the color of my problem. Don't worry about me.
Personally, I'm just like, see, until Washokuku don't post.
Please, yeah.
I can't be sure that I'll claim.
Yeah.
Everyone should just cool.
Just
you know what I mean?
Post and write noted.
Do you get? Let's keep it, especially because we've seen the ones that are posting mean.
Yep.
So I don't know. I just feel like you're not on the same page. And yes, you can communicate, but more and more I'm of the position that like he's ahead. This man wants to marry, and I don't know whatever that is making him move fast. But if he's not willing, I feel like at this point, he knows that you're not willing to, like you want to take it slow. If you're not willing to take it slow, you have an issue, because you can't spend your whole relationship begging someone to cool down.
Yeah.
You know, next week, he wants you to meet his mom. You say you don't want to meet Big Mommy.
And then the same thing happens.
The same thing is going to keep happening. Maybe like your cousins at your house, all of a sudden he wants to come. I said, I don't want you around my family. And it's not a shame issue. It's just...
Really? Is it not?
I mean...
Because because by thinking about it, all the people I've not wanted to introduce to my cousins, I've actually low-key felt...
Shame, Abby. Look, let's all be honest. The people that you want to keep indoors.
Yeah, so it's better.
You like them when they're indoors, private.
You actually have no intention of this going longer than...
You love a private bond with them. Once the bond starts entering the pub, hey, please, let's be indoors.
Yeah.
When we're indoors, lovely. Once you start greeting me outside, excuse me. So to be honest, I get it. There are many people that I will never introduce to my friends. Onto what? What do you want to discuss with them? What we're doing here does not involve
anybody, please.
Others.
And
so I don't know. It could be that, but like she has to figure that out as well.
Okay, up next we have Fake Celibacy, who says, "Hey FK and Jules, I love the pod. Keep up the good work. Now my dilemma. A guy in my friend group has been showing interest in me lately, and I didn't really pay attention to him until he outright confessed his feelings to my face. I panicked and told him I was celibate, so we couldn't be together in order to avoid breaking his heart. It didn't go the way I thought it would, and he told me he respects that and he doesn't mind following me on the journey. Now we've gone on quite a number of dates and he sends me biblical scriptures. I've grown to like him now. I don't know whether I should just tell him I'm not actually celibate and I lied, or just continue this fake life because quite frankly, Konji is killing me."
She has to confess. That's crazy.
That's actually confess. Oh!
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to help the girl out. She's in a situation. We are here to help, okay? Let's not judge. Now you've lied already. You're already here. But everybody does do mistake.
Yeah.
The thing is, now you're not supposed to lead others into temptation. That's also in the Bible. I'm sure he has sent you about that. Okay. So let me tell you, I have 2 suggestions. I think suggestion 1 is you start sending Bible scriptures that suggest the flesh is weak.
Oh my God.
There is a
There's
scripture
no need.
that
You should
says,
just tell him that she wants to say something to him.
I think you should just go for it. You will find that Angel Gabriel is also having
No, she
issues
should
of the
just tell him
flesh.
that. Well, let me not lie to
Let
you.
me not lie.
Let me not.
Let me
Let
not
me
lie.
just be
Yeah.
frank.
I
Let me
was
open
lying.
up.
See, let me see. You're like a brother to me.
That time you were a brother to me.
Now I don't want you to be my brother again.
Yeah, I think you have to tell him the truth.
I think you have to tell him the truth.
But if he has
And
truly changed, good luck.
the
Sha.
problem is that if he is like also whining you, then it's perfect. Then 2 of you will move forward in sin together
Yeah.
into fornication, which is a sin anyway. So I'm sure he will highlight that in the Bible as well for you. But if he's like legit on the spiritual journey of celibacy, this is going to be a tough time.
Yep.
Because now he's going to tell you that you inspired him to do the right thing. And he's going to encourage you in the word.
Yeah, so you guys must continue like that.
And that's going to be your fault. Because the next time, a big girl, just tell him you don't like him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay. Now we have someone who calls themselves on wife number 4. Who says, "Hi guys, I'm in my mid-30s and I've been married 4 times. I know how that sounds. Believe me, nobody is more shocked than I am. I genuinely don't know how I got back here again because my 4th wife is now threatening to file for divorce. First marriage happened when we were in uni and we realized we wanted different things. The other 2 ended due to irreconcilable differences.
Like once.
I thought I had finally figured it out with this one, but it's been fights on top of silence. We've tried counseling, both spiritual and professional, and I see the way the marriage therapist looks at us. At this point, I'm clearly the common denominator. My wife didn't show up for my grandma's 95th birthday, and my family definitely noticed. My mother has already said she's not attending any more nonsense weddings. I don't know if I'm just cursed, unlucky, or not built for marriage, but it's starting to feel really embarrassing. Any advice or tips would really mean a lot."
Let me give you one tip. Please send me your full name, middle name, surname, in case I have any friend that feigns to marry you. Do you know what's crazy to me? Sorry, I'm going to answer seriously.
Mm-hmm.
4 people have married this person. Nobody has married us.
One. No, we don't have.
Think that's off. This crazy man, 4 human beings in his 30s.
Mid.
Do you know the last person saw that 3 people left him and said, "This is the love of my life."
It's crazy.
My character is not this bad.
Who told you?
It's fair.
That tells us all we need to know about
I
ourselves.
can't lie. No, but seriously, I think you need to look into what's happening.
Yeah.
Introspection.
Yeah.
Just stop getting married.
I think as a point, because how when between uni and now why are you always kneeling down onto proposing?
Let's just not do that anymore.
Don't buy any rings again. You
Like
should be banned from jewelry.
Yeah.
I just imagine that any small thing you want to kneel down, just calm down.
Yeah.
Most people have not had, as in they've had long-term relationships that are shorter than longer than your
The only
wedding.
advice I can give you genuinely is if you are as worried as you sound, you should put that effort into fixing
Yeah,
your
I think
marriage.
you need to figure out what is going on with you.
Or are you actually tired of the marriage as well, but you're just more embarrassed about the fact that
you still want him
people
to
will
sort
now
out
say,
the marriage.
No, so what I'm trying to say is that his main thing now that he's saying to us is, I've been married 4 times, not I'm about to lose my wife. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Sorry, I was under the assumption that we've all agreed that the wife is going.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. So
okay, we're saving it.
No, what I'm trying to say is that his main worry now is that people are going to start saying he's been married 4 times. Not the fact
so
that...
you're like, should he save it?
No, I'm not worrying about whether or not she save it. This man actually doesn't have a problem with the fact that he's fighting with his wife. His main issue is that she leaves him.
Yeah. Yes. The main issue is that if she loses him, he won't be someone that married 3 times and found love.
Yes, he'll be married 4 times. And so to me, that's the crux of the issue.
Yeah.
That's actually the crux. That's the crux of the problem.
His issue is not the wife, it's the embarrassment.
It's the embarrassment. Yeah. Yeah, and that tells me all you need to know. Because he would have written this very differently.
Like, what should I do?
Yes.
But
he's like, advice. We can't advise you
on not marrying many people.
Or because we're already here. So for me, it's if your worry about the embarrassment is bigger than your investment in fixing the relationship regardless, then don't worry, you're about to be divorced, have been divorced 4 times. Yeah, don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
You deal with the shame.
I'm going to go ahead and say we should give it 2 years, no marriage.
Yeah.
If we can try.
If possible, I think that's a sensible plan. For you to go 2 years like this, don't marry anybody.
In fact, dating, I don't even think you should do it.
I actually think one good year, you should probably try and figure out the nature of your problem. Because we can't even claim is you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really think you need to figure out, first of all, why you love marrying. Because I think it's a weird thing to continue to as in not date and being long-term, to propose to people every time.
He's in his mid-30s.
Yeah, like how have you married for people?
It's possible.
Is it?
It is.
Jola, how many times have we married?
Well, we're unique. What
I wish you said how long
and
each of them were
married
lasting.
and we've stopped. I can assure you, we can't reach 4.
I know. It's just, I don't want him. He already feels bad.
Oh yeah, it's true.
I think he needs to feel a bit bad.
Yeah, no, because he's about to feel worse because that number 4 is coming. Don't worry.
It's somehow.
The way he's wrote this thing, I know that his main thing is, as she's fighting with him, he's just thinking, God.
So I'll now be divorced.
He's not hearing what she's saying.
His divorce lawyer must be so happy.
Like, God. When they see him in the office, they say,
bro, you're my customer. The usual.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
For a divorce lawyer to know your spec.
Okay, now we have one that's heavy and it has a trigger warning.
Sorry, I just want to say to that guy, your marriage is probably over, but I think, it's funny. I know it sounds somehow, but clearly there's something about you that people like. If
enough,
people like enough. I think you're worried about the wrong thing. Your marriage has finished. You need to figure out what's going on just in life in general.
It might be a spiritual issue.
I actually hope it is. Because
also,
it might be easier for him to solve that.
You might want to say the therapist that looks at you guys somehow. You might want to call her and say, level with me. What's the problem? Maybe
you guys should just one-on-one session.
Yes. Like the way if the therapist is looking at you somehow, you actually have to call the woman and be like, look, forget the marriage part of counseling. Just as a human being, I'm actually worried about myself. Like, what can't you say when it's 12 us there?
I hope it's a therapist that's maybe seen you in a different marriage also, so that she can help you do compare and contrasting.
Fair. Okay, up next we have a heavy trigger warning of rape and assault from somebody that calls themselves Jola's Kindle and says, hi ladies, I love the podcast and I've been listening since day 1. When I was 27 and doing my master's, I was assaulted by a man from a friendship group I no longer associate with. 7 years later, I am married and my husband immediately after we got married adopted my son and treats him like his own. I couldn't believe it. We now have twins. And every time my in-laws come over, they only attend to the twins and not my son. Honestly, I get it. I don't care. But it made me think of a bigger question. When would it be too soon to tell my son how he came to be? I don't want to hide the truth from him forever, but don't even know if he should know at all. He's always known my husband as his dad, and no one else knows but my husband, my family, and I. Please help. Madam, you take it to your grave.
Yeah. I don't even know if that's my answer. What I was going to say, why I highlighted this, I think some things are above our pay grade and this is one of them.
Yeah.
I want to be frank with you, my sister, this is not the right place.
Yeah, but if you're asking just like generally.
In general.
I don't think so. There's something about...
I don't know because you know why I say so, things come out.
Wait, no. This is also not Nollywood. If your child has only ever known your husband as his dad. I'm not saying that he shouldn't know that that's not his biological dad.
Or the story.
I don't think, because she says she doesn't want to lie to her son.
Or
you also don't want to give them a new... Telling your child that they are the result of sexual assault is really
tough.
I don't know. I think Fakemi is right, it's above our pay grade. But if you're asking me just on principle, you can say that he was someone I knew before. We don't really have contact and he's not a great person. I don't think it'll be healthy for you guys to have any sort of relationship. No problem.
When the son is older.
When the son is much older. And this is only because of simple things like, I'm very Yoruba, let him not go and bring his biological cousin to marry because he just doesn't know, right? So I understand a child having the right to know that the person you call dad is your dad, but he's not your biological dad, etc. But I don't know if there is any value, if there is any, other than unburdening yourself, I don't know if there's any true value in telling a child, and by child, I don't mean that they are still small. You're a child, a person in their, even if they are in their 40s, I don't know that people can handle that type of information. And what it does to, because I'm trying to imagine, at whatever time you find out, how does that color what you think of yourself?
Yeah.
And the likelihood of people, normal people, any type of person is, whenever new information comes to light, right, you start to look at life
in hindsight.
So he's just thinking, okay, that's why he starts adding one and one that's not two.
Yeah.
I do understand the importance of honesty.
Mm-hmm.
But I do this one, I'm so sorry.
I actually completely agree. I think the truth that I mean should come out is that, okay, at some point, this is not your father.
Yeah.
I mean, this is your dad, but this is not your biological father. I don't think there's value in that first story.
Yeah.
I don't know what it does. But the truth is, I also don't know. I don't know the psychology of all these things. I just know that I don't know that I would want to know that. It's fine. I think people can understand this is not my father.
Yeah.
But this is who raised me. But that you are a product of that kind of violation, that's very heavy.
It does a lot to you mentally.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say
it.
But then again, like, what do you then do? And to be honest, it's actually above our pay grade.
It is. That's why I keep going back and forth, and I'm like, it's above me. The truth is, there are people who understand psychology of all these plenty things, and unfortunately, it's quite, especially because he's being othered by your husband's
family. And it makes
family.
it worse when it's the reason why.
It makes it much worse. So that's why you're even thinking, because it's feeling like somebody's about to say that's not your daddy, and then that's how all those questions start to come up.
No, but that's coming from. So she's the only people that know her husband, her own family.
No, about the assault.
Yeah.
But the other ones know that that's not his
dad. Yes, so I understand what you mean. The story behind it, not so much.
I'm not sure the assault.
I believe in useful lies.
Yeah.
Right? I really believe in them. I think people who don't understand the world in shades of grey are interesting at best.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are places where you lie to a person. And unless it's an absolute have to, obviously you should speak to a therapist. But if you're asking just my laywoman's opinion, yeah, there's a reason why people take birth stories a lot, very serious. They believe it. A lot of people think it defines who they are. It's why parents are even reticent to even that's why even onto pub recently, people don't even like hearing from other people saying, "Oh, I wasn't ready to have a child, but I did." Almost like you're doing something to the person by saying, you weren't planned, or we weren't ready, or we were afraid, or if I had options, I wouldn't have. Things that people, further than that, I think you should definitely need to talk to someone, that knows what they're doing.
I think you should figure it out. Also, the timing. I know a lot of people reveal this sort of thing. I have a friend who was adopted, and they told her when she was going to A-levels.
How did that work?
So she was like 16.
Was she okay?
She was okay, and I there was reason for it. Because they were just like, look, you are going to mingle with, you're not in this bubble where we can protect you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're now like in the world and the other Nigerians you meet. And lo and behold, maybe a year later, it was another person, like a Nigerian that she met in London that told her.
That she was
adopted. And my mommy said.
Yeah. So I in that case, what you're saying is very important.
So they had already told her, but it was a whole thing. She was like in therapy for some time around it. And the way they did it was okay, but she was a bit older. But there was, I think, I don't know if it was coming out, but there was a reason why they were like, okay,
100%.
At this point, it feels like secondary school is over. You're going to A-levels uni. You're now outside.
Sorry, we skipped over something and I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
So her husband is a great dad to her son, but his family is somehow...
It's terrible.
So I don't know how you guys want to handle it, if there's anything to be handled, because you said you don't care. But there's a reason this behavior brought out anxiety. Your husband needs to handle his family.
He does.
And say to them, look, I understand you feel very strongly for the twins. Obviously, they are your blood relatives. But if there's even a hint, if this boy gets old enough to wonder why you're treating him somehow, and it is specifically the fact that your behavior leads us down this path, we are generally going to have problems of proportions you can't imagine.
Yeah.
Your husband needs to make it clear that I actually understand you're struggling. But it's one thing to struggle privately. It's another thing because you are potentially going to cause problems with my wife's first child. If it is because of, once it starts with why don't grandma and grandpa like me, or only God knows what they are saying to people as well, and he's a little boy, you don't know what people say to children.
Yeah.
So you actually need, again, I actually 100% believe you that you don't care. But
you need to care, and your husband needs to step in.
Yeah, he needs to step in and say it in a way that the only way this boy should actually suspect he's not my child is if he has a bad dream.
Yeah.
Like he has to have a bad dream and come and say, I dreamt you're not my daddy. It can't be that your behavior led him down a path that ends up in this thing coming out. I think it's something that's really, really important because there's a reason why you're anxious and you're starting to try to think of this thing now. You're preempting the possibility.
Options that could happen. Yeah. I think he has to just come out and they need to know that it's you that thinks he's not my son.
Yeah.
This is my son, and anyhow you move, I'm going to react like this is my son.
Yeah.
And a lot of these situations where one person's family is behaving, that's the person that needs to step up.
Yeah.
You can't go there and fight that battle.
No, 100%.
It's the person that has family members that needs to call them to order. And they need to do it quite quickly because it's very cruel for you to be putting
They're so mean.
Yeah,
like,
you to be putting that on a child is crazy.
Yeah, but that's we have to be honest and realistic about the environment we live in. A lot of us are very high and mighty thinking about these things. It's just, we're a lot more base. Human beings are a lot more base and crass than most would like. So I remember there was a conversation about adoption that happened on Twitter a couple of weeks ago now. And there was a lot of, I can't believe people have this thing of adoption as a charitable thing to do, but that's still not your child. So it's just like you've done a nice, kind thing, but even the parents have an attitude and a behavior. And I grew up very churchy, and I know a number of people who did informal adoptions based on, if I'm kind to this child, God will see me and pity me.
Wow.
That's the attitude a lot of. Haven't you heard this, that God uses those children to open your womb? Have you never heard this thing before?
I've heard it. I understand it.
But I do think that a lot of people are...
1 + 1 is a bit wild.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff, and a lot of the behavior that comes out of that is because, and I really can't wait for us to have a pastor on, because I think there's a lot of very odd behaviors that Nigerians have that are very like transactional. Like the basis of this belief is incredibly transactional. So you see people change their attitude towards the children because they eventually finesse God into giving them what they want. They have the kid now, so there's no need for us to continue with this
kind to this person.
Charade, because technically they've already been as kind as they can be.
Or it's like people who, you can't have children for a long time, so you adopt, and then all of a sudden you have a child and you don't really have the need to treat the adopted child as your own, because now you have your own. They don't understand that you're adopting them means that's your child.
That's your child, yeah. It's
really weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. So it's just the connotations around it. Like, this is a placeholder. So if it doesn't come, if what I really want doesn't come, I will embrace the placeholder even more. At least I tried. But if it does, it's proof that this theory works. And you see it, quite a bit.
Yeah.
But the only reason that we're still shocked is not just because it's a bad thing, but because we don't grapple with that. Like I said, our society is just very, very crass and very base. So we like to pretend and ignore a lot of stuff because it's so uncomfortable and a bit weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were very interesting dilemmas.
I want us to read the one about the friend who is prone to scams, but next week.
No, I'll read it too.
We'll do that.
I'll read it. I
thought that was crazy.
I saw it. I actually saw it. You highlighted it.
They've scammed you.
There's been a friend that's been scammed
times.
multiple times.
What?
When they go for it now.
Okay.
He was.
All right. This person calls themselves the idiot's friend. That's it, Abby. Hi, FK Angela. I love the podcast. Please help me beg my friend because I am genuinely at my wit's end. My friend and I are both Nigerian schooling in the UK, and unfortunately, she has a strong calling to be scammed. It's like her destiny is tied to fraud. She has fallen for not one, not two, but 3 scams in the last year, and this one took me out. So her boyfriend, who might I add lives in Nigeria, does Forex or crypto or one of those umbrella terms people use when they don't have a LinkedIn page. Anyway, my friend decided she too wanted to invest. One morning, she calls me and says she urgently needed £250 and she'd pay me back in 4 days. This was not strange. We borrow from each other all the time and she always pays me back. So I sent it. 2 hours later, just before an appointment, she rang again, frantic. Said she needed an additional £300 immediately because her investment coach said she had to cover a £500 debit to unlock a code. I said, code? That's when she explained. She found some shady TikTok page and invested £100. Allegedly, it turned to 1,000. So because she lacks the fear of God, she added 200 more, which became 2,000. And now, brace yourselves, supposedly has £3,000 locked in some imaginary investment box. But to open the box, the coach said she must pay $750 for a code. At this point, she already begged $150 from 2 other people and sent it to this person. As a woman of sense, I opened my laptop and searched the website. The first thing I saw was scam alert in capital letters. I said, did you even research this thing? She said, no. Just no. No shame, no hesitation. Now I'm fuming. Where is my £250? She can't say. And her pride won't let her admit she's been scammed again. We live in the same flat, and I swear if I see any Royal Mail or delivery for her, I'm opening it and selling it on Vinted because what's this nonsense? We've called a friendship group intervention, but at this point, how many interventions can one person survive before the entire community gives up? Please advise me, should I start invoicing her for emotional damage?
I don't...
Do you know what the problem is? She's not embarrassed enough yet.
She's not.
Yeah.
She's not. And also, they keep sort of coming to her rescue.
Yes. So the first thing that needs to happen is that you guys as friends can't feel sorry. She must pay back every single person. Like there's something about, first of all, your friend is not prone to scam. She's greedy. That's the first thing you actually need to notice. She's greedy
because
she's
there's
very
nobody
greedy.
that believes that you sent somebody £100 and it turned to 1,000 and then you need a code. You are greedy.
She's greedy. She's greedy. So that's actually what the thing is. You're thinking of it as, oh my God, my little naive friend always getting scammed. You have a greedy friend who is scammable on the basis of her greed. Yeah. So it's not naivete in this instance.
All these get rich quick
It's greed
schemes
that is pushing her to be like, I just want to quickly collect £100 and I'll get 200. And you guys are going to laugh at me, but part of how I know she's greedy is that she didn't tell you immediately.
No, what she was doing it for.
Because she wanted to only give you back the $250.
Yeah, she didn't want to, because if she's
so
sharing
you have
money,
a greedy friend.
She'll tell you that, see, there's a thing. We can all put money in it.
Yes. So that's the main thing. Your friend is greedy and you're thinking of it as this naive.
It's different being scammed, like you are trying to do something legit and then you didn't know and someone scammed you or you logged into a fake page. Or this one, you went to look for the scam.
Yeah. All these get rich quick things.
And she's not stopping.
She's not
That's
stopping.
The
truth is, unless you guys make it hard for her to carry on, she's going to do it again.
Yeah.
She's going to do it again.
No, but even if she wants to do it again, as long as it doesn't involve you guys, because that's what I'm trying to explain. This greed is crazy. Yeah. Anybody that can sit down in this day and age, do you know how many scam alerts just in general there are? How many people have told stories of, I did this. This is too common. You guys are too educated. You're too exposed. Like you live and study abroad. She should know better, but she's greedy. And she has no problems trying to involve you in her grift. But not even from a generous point of view. What do you mean? If I knew there was a sure banker of me putting £750 somewhere and I'll get £2,000 and I'm sure. I'm not calling for Ikemi to borrow money. I'm calling for Ikemi like, guy, come and put your money inside this thing. What she wanted to do was borrow $250, return $250 and keep her $3,000.
Yeah, which is crazy. She didn't even share it.
So, given
and it's
that,
only when it casted that she now told her.
Said,
given that, you will pay me back my money.
You will. Everybody
and every single person.
When you feel it, then you start rethinking your decision. Because also, if it's the third time, it's not by you talking to her.
Yep.
She knows what she's looking for.
Shame actually causes people to be like...
Yeah, and also like even the way you react. I'm sorry, there's some things that our parents used to do that we used to think were extra. But there's a reason why sometimes when you've done the same stupid thing multiple times, your parents now use it to embarrass you just so that you stop. When they're like, Shebi, you're the one that, and you're feeling somehow, guess what? The next time you want to do that thing, you just don't want anybody's problem. She's like, do you know what? So when she comes and says something, say, I beg, can somebody check that thing? Before... Oh, guys, we're going to, because I have a plug. Don't worry.
don't worry about your plug, please. Let's buy.
We'll do it.
So I don't know. I don't think she's being. What you're saying, she's prone to scam. No, she's greedy.
She's greedy.
She's the one that is looking for. She doesn't want to make money the normal way. She's looking for where they triple money. And again, anybody with just you don't even have.
What
to
was that
sensible.
last one called?
C-Bex or something.
C-Bex.
Yeah. I kept looking at it. I was like, you guys, how many times will you learn that you cannot double your money online? What is going on?
Yeah. It's actually greed.
It is. It's just, you're hoping that it's your own that clicks. And when the thing, I think
bursts,
it is that you know it's a scam, but you're hoping that you're early enough that it will not bust on your head.
Yeah. It's that thing of Nigerians thinking that their case will always be different.
Yeah.
And I'm
unique.
like, why?
I'm like, it will surely be you that it will cast on. Don't worry yourself. I was going to ask, because you said you did consultancy. What does that look like?
So like, for instance, if a company comes and is like, okay, we want to hire more deaf people or more disabled people, I would work with them on like kind of like helping them through the process of finding the disabled, employees, what onboarding them would look like what they would need, and just ensuring that like, they are given the right care, the right accommodation, and their needs are generally met. Or for instance, we have apps, like so many apps. People don't realize that blind people use this technology called screen readers. And for the screen reader to read out everything on the page, everything needs to be like labeled on the back end for, I wouldn't get too technical. But for instance, images have alt text that describes the image on a website. So people don't even understand things like that. So what we do is, or what I do rather, is I work with brands, organizations, let's say beauty company is like, our website, we want to make it more elevated. We want to make it more accessible to disabled people. We would work with them on that. And then let's say like a government is working on a policy or something, or, a project for disabled people. We would work with them on what that looks like, or a campaign. And let's say, for instance, the Paralympic Games campaign last year, I consulted on that. Like they came to us and they're like Channel 4 and they were like, these are the ads we want to create. This is the story we're thinking of. But like, is the language right? Is the language ableist? Do we need to make it more like disabled friendly, more sensitive? So I worked with them on that. Actually, tweak this. This scene should come after this. So it's kind of just across the board. It's the processes, it's down to the offices, down to the apps. Like, can disabled people actually open the app and like be able to maneuver it? So those are the things. It's shedding light on that, because I think it also differs per region. I feel like what we really need in Nigeria is education, because like how can you start talking about...
I was about to ask that. In Nigeria, are we at the level of like screen reading and alt text? Because I feel like it's so base level.
Yeah.
But do you have Nigerian, sorry to cut you off. Do you have Nigerian companies coming to you saying they want to hire more? And how is that kind of getting people to adjust here?
So in terms of hiring, not yet. So that's actually like a major issue. It's like they don't feel like, I feel like one thing, like a lot of disabled people are kind of in hiding in Nigeria. Sorry, when you think about it, if you go to, I was about to mention a cafe, but if you go to a cafe and there's like steps, and I was thinking about it, I was like, my friend in a wheelchair would not even be able to grab himself a cup of coffee like we can do on a regular Monday. But what they are concerned about, Nigerian companies, is perception, which works.
Yeah, I mean, you have
because they
stuff
will do
from
it
somewhere.
if it makes them look good. So it's like, that's kind of like, so it's like, okay, we want to be like the first beauty company or first retail company that's accessible. What do we need to get there? And it's like, okay, when we do it, let's do this. Let's get this interview. Let's get this press. Which is so sad.
I mean, to be honest, it gets to
works.
the goal, it's a means
it
to
works,
an end.
exactly. But I really think there's an issue in terms of like the employment of disabled people. I think a lot of Nigerian companies don't feel like disabled people can actually do the work. The way the economy is set up right now, people are just looking for somebody who can just get the work done quickly. They don't want to hear about, this person needs a sign language interpreter, which is sad because if you give disabled people the option to have those accommodations, they can perform even better than able-bodied people can.
It's a bit crazy because it's a bit of a cycle and it has to start from somewhere. It feels a bit daunting to think about it because I can imagine so many scenarios where they're just like, is this worth the effort?
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's very crazy. Because as you were talking, I was hearing it and I was like, this sounds like abroad. This sounds like people who are having concerns in a society that these are things that matter. Whereas here, I'm sure most companies, the people they have, the Google don't care about them.
Yeah. So, what do you think is for anyone who wants to even just start, taking the needs of disabled people into consideration? What's a good place to start, would you say?
I would say education and awareness because the internet is free. You can go on the internet and search what do I have a deaf employee, or on that point, sorry, just quickly go back. Someone had actually reached out to my uncle who called me. Person was calling me. I hadn't heard from this uncle in a while. I was like, why is he calling me at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday morning? I said, an employee in his office just lost his hearing. And they're saying that hearing aids are they're quoting him like ₦1 million, blah, 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 blah. ETC, is this affordable? What do I need to do? And I feel like in terms of what I would say is important, I would say education and awareness. People actually need to be aware that there are disabilities. When I was doing a lot of research, because SEO allows you to see what people are searching in Nigeria, and people are searching disability rehabilitation, and so there's still this idea of not
we can fix
the fact that, and I feel like people need to be aware of the fact that if maybe you're a person of faith and you believe that someday something can be different, that's fine, but while you're still waiting, if you have a disabled child, get them the care that they need. Don't wait till it's too late because it's a huge thing in Nigeria, the late diagnosis and just not giving people the right care that they need. Find out, research, but also speak to real life disabled people. Ask them if you have, let's say, a disabled person within your environment, or if you don't, and maybe you go to an event and you see someone. Again, it's not a pity party. It's not like you're going and you're saying,
"Oh my God, this is a pity please project. Don't start going up to, oh my God, excuse me."
So just, make an effort to be a bit more friendly because you don't know, kindness can just go a long way. And don't try to argue with them about their disability or what they need, or, just so many different things. I think about Ubers. I hate getting in Ubers because,
imagine that.
Because when they're reading out the account number to transfer, I'm like, sorry, I didn't hear. I've repeated myself 5 times. And I'm like, I'm deaf. And they just look back. 8055. And it's just no, what I mean is turn towards me. I live it. So I think that education is very important in Nigeria. Let's all just make the effort to actually find out what disabled people need. I know it's Deaf Awareness Week, but I think across the board, from wheelchair users to even autism to even ADHD. I have a best friend who has ADHD and dyslexia, and she struggles. And she was doing some exam somewhere and they denied her. She asked for extra time and they said no, you didn't submit. I think it was that she was diagnosed from middle school onwards. I can't remember what period, and they said you need to be diagnosed from early on. And I'm why?
How does that invalidate her diagnosis?
Like what she's going through right now. So I think we can just do a lot more with regards to education and awareness, kindness, and also just creating opportunities for disabled people. There's so many amazing people that are doing amazing things. Like I know a deaf girl right now. She's the founder of a fragrance studio. Another one is currently building. She has a prosthetic leg. She's currently building a studio in Lagos, like for people to take pictures and stuff. So there's actually people.
Doing
so if you want to
things,
make change, like go the extra mile. Because if you're looking for someone for a project, you would go the extra mile. So there's nothing wrong with being like, actually, like, let's do things a little bit differently and include people who are not always included. And it also doesn't have to be like a project that is about disability.
Yeah.
It can just be that, like, I'm launching an app and I'm looking for people in tech and there's a disabled person and they don't get overlooked because they're disabled. Because you don't want to go the extra mile of like giving them what they need. So that's what I would say.
Thank you.
Wow.
That was pretty great. I hope you had a good time.
I
did. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Where can people find you if they're looking for information and what you're doing? Yeah.
At Toyosi Alexis on Instagram, TikTok. And that's it. Yeah. I have a Twitter, but it's private. So
okay.
Don't worry. Don't worry about that. Don't worry.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
Please follow Toyosi. Check out what she's doing,
And well done on your advocacy.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys. You know what to do. Like and follow and subscribe. Leave a comment. That is more than the number you are when you go around to listen to the podcast.
Honestly, I checked this thing and it's really something for you to say your first, your second. Please.
Yeah.
Why are you people lining up in the comments?
I don't get it. But thank you guys for listening and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. This episode of I Said What I Said is brought to you by Carousel Networks. Your hosts are Jola Jols Ayeye and Feikemi FK Abudu. Our producer is Debbie Romeo. Our social media manager is Najite Anira. Our cinematographers are Rotimi Kujori and Divine Nabuko. And our production assistant is Teresa Ajayi. On audio, we have David Kenny. And our camera assistant is Abolade Uluyede. Our guest is the one and only Toyosi Alexis. And this season of I Said What I Said is brought to you by Coins by Bamboo.